I'm Tiernan. I'm back here again with Jack and Ian.
Hello.
And
How are we?
we have been on a little hiatus for a few.
Yes, we have.
For you guys, it's only been a week. For us, it's been about 3 weeks, coming on to a
4
month.
weeks.
Coming on
It's
to- yeah,
4
4
weeks.
weeks.
4 weeks. This is the fourth week, so I think we're all kind of excited to get back into it.
Yeah,
It's been a
refreshed.
while.
Recharged,
Yeah, recharge the old batteries.
ready to get angry about Disney movies.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And the state of the industry in general.
I'd like to just state that we usually we warm up with just ranting to each other for about 20 minutes to a half an hour before we actually get on to this. But anyway, this week we are talking about just the films that we watched over the last while. I think it's going to be a bit of a recommendation podcast, but we're also going to be talking about kind of a cool topic, films that had great concepts but are terrible films, turned out to be terrible films.
Executed badly.
Not necessarily terrible films, but could have been better.
Well,
Could have been a lot better,
Had
yeah.
potential, yeah, and then
Yeah.
just whether that was the director or the actors or the script, it
Yeah,
didn't turn out
yeah.
the way it could have, essentially. But
So does anyone who wants to start with the films that they watched over the last few?
okay, so I'll start with. I was just briefly mentioned it to you guys, and I want to talk about it. Jack's seen it as well. I watched it on Netflix. There, it's called Climax. It's by Gaspar Noé. I'm going to recommend it, despite the fact that it's absolutely twisted and fucked up. But it's on Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. It's a good reason to watch it. I was in the mood for a horror movie, and might I just say, I have so many streaming services. I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, I have Sky. The selection of horror movies is desperate.
It's
Yeah,
dismal.
Absolutely.
If someone came into the market and was just like, I'm going to get the license for every single horror film on the face of the fucking planet, there's so many people who are so dedicated to horror out there.
Well, there's actually, funny enough, I don't know if it's in Ireland, you see, it's called Shudder, and it has loads of horror movies, but they have a deal with Amazon. I went to watch a movie called May, Amazon were advertising it, and then I had to start a Shudder account, and I was like, I'm not starting another account.
Yeah.
I have so many accounts that I'm sure I'm paying for things.
Is this in French?
It's kind of in French.
Yeah.
So I
So,
remember, I think you mentioned this, Jack, on the foreign language film
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. There's some bits of French. in
some
it,
bits
but
are
like,
French, yeah. Gaspar Noé is like a renowned French.
It's like going on
director.
holiday,
Yeah.
kind of. Like, you ever go to Paris or something?
Yeah, you
like,
get little patchy
speak
kind
to
of
the late
bits of-
waiter,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Jim Appel,
Yeah,
fucking...
you throw a bit of a
Yeah.
bonsoir.
Or like you ask them, you're like, please help me. I know you speak English. And they're like, we?
No interest in speaking English back to you. But yeah, so Gaspar Noé, he is like a renowned director. Other movies that he's done is probably one of his most famous ones is Irreversible, which is the movie known for starting from the end and working its way back. He's also done Enter the Void, which was a complete POV movie. It's about a guy who dies, and he goes through this kind of like, you know, his soul leaves his body and remains on Earth, and it's shot completely in
Never
POV.
seen any of these.
POV, yeah.
Yeah, they're these kind of these art house movies, but also
POV
that,
sounds like
yeah.
a nightmare of watch.
It sounds like a nightmare to shoot as well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and Enter the Void is like 3 hours long. His movies are extremely self-indulgent. Some of them seem to hit, some of them don't really. I don't want to jump them up too much, but I'd heard loads about Climax. I decided to watch it. It's only like 90 minutes long.
Yeah, it's very short.
It's short, and so essentially it's just about a troupe of dancers. They got a group of professional dancers to be in this movie. You know, most of them are French, a few are from Germany, one or two are from America. The movie literally just starts out interviewing them all, asking them, you know, about drug use, and then also just asking them about like what dancing is to them. And then the movie just cuts straight into a dance routine, and it is absolutely
Deadly.
incredible. Like, it is mesmerizing, and I thought I would not be into that kind
It's
of thing at
Midsummer
all.
vibes in
It
terms of
is
it.
like-
It's actually better than Midsummer because
Yeah,
like,
it's, you know that whole
they're all professional dancers.
yeah.
like.
You remember that whole dance sequence
Yeah.
in Midsummer? It's like that. You're that like into it, and you're like vibing to it. And also, Gaspar Noé has incredible taste in music. He knows loads about like techno and things
Yeah,
like
music
that.
in this film,
But
banging.
the music is so good, but he also like he got loads of people from the music industry like involved in it, and he gives them all a credit in the movie as well at the start, instead of even the Rolling Stones and all. And they only use one Rolling Stones song at the end, but he gives them all a credit. So straight away you watch this dance sequence. Just the dance sequence alone is enough to like.
So wait, did
get
you
you in.
stumble upon a good horror film?
I don't know if I would say that I stumbled upon it because I'd known about Gaspar
Yeah.
Noé, but I didn't expect. First of all, I didn't expect it to be this horrifying, and I didn't expect it to be this good. I just was like, you know what? I've heard this guy's good at his movies. I wanted something like Midsommar. I wanted something, but I didn't want to rewatch Midsommar. I was very close to rewatching Hereditary, but I was like, fuck it. This is on here. I have no excuse not to watch it. And essentially, the whole movie is about, you know, you get little tidbits of the characters. You see, it goes through them having conversations among each other. You get literally in 30 seconds, 2 minutes or so, what their personalities are like. Then next minute you cop someone spiked the punch that they've been all drinking. They've just done this last rehearsal. They're having a bit of a party, and the second they cop that their punch has been spiked, it all goes fucking sour. It's straight away, it just clicks. And it's the whole idea of some of them are having good trips, some of them are having bad trips, but it's the whole idea of no one is in control. Absolutely no one is able to control what is happening around them.
And you were saying that like it's really interesting the way that they approach it. They don't actually show
so I was saying just before we started this that like Gaspar Noé is a very visual director. He's all about, you know, mad colours and stuff, and he makes massive use of that in this. Except I thought it was going to be, they're going to be seeing these weird hallucinations. You know, acid trips in movies are very cliche. You know, we see mad snakes and weird things while exactly.
The Book of Destiny.
Sasquatch. But this was very much, you just know they're all there. They all don't want to be on acid. You know what I mean? And that's another part of it. It's that they unwillingly are all on acid. So they're all trying to like cope with it. They're all getting fucked up.
Well, like, I'm sure you probably question what's going on.
And then there's another element to it as well, as the head of the dancing troupe, her little son is there, and they just mentioned at the start of it, they're not comfortable. Some of the dancers are not comfortable with the idea of a kid just being around them because they're all drinking. And they don't know about the acid, but they're there and they're like, I don't feel comfortable with a child being around us all drinking and stuff. And then when it adds the acid into it, it's like, okay, now we've got a new element. There's kids around a bunch of tripping high people, and
some of them have an issue with them.
The music does not turn off for the entire movie. The music comes on, it doesn't stop. They're all still having conversations. Some of them are still dancing. Some of them are just vibing. They're absolutely loving it. Other people are absolutely having mental breakdowns, making accusations against each other. And there's the element of who spiked the punch ball.
Yeah.
That's the
so
element
it's
of
who done it.
It's a little bit of that, like,
doesn't really
and
feed into
it
that,
just goes balls to the wall insane, but remains very grounded in reality because Gaspar Noé is known for kind of going a bit mad, and this is 100% something that you're like, this could fucking happen. And it is depressing, but it's beautiful, it's incredibly active. I could not recommend it enough, but I just say, make sure you're in a good place watching this, because it took it out of me watching this film.
I mentioned this before in the podcast a couple weeks ago. We were talking about, do you know where I got this from? So I went to go visit my friend in Berlin, and we went to go see two DJs live. And we were like, oh yeah, great, we're going to see two DJs. And we saw it was on at 7 p.m. And I was like, all right. Well, I was like, this is only an hour and a half long. So we went to this old like opera house or whatever. And it turns out it was like dancers with live DJs and like playing synths and like playing the records live and everything. So it was like an hour and a half long. The music didn't stop. And like the dancers were doing like this amazing shit. And then one of his friends was there and said, oh, this reminds you of this movie. And I was like, yeah, this sounds like right up my alley. So like it really, the dancing kind of thing that I saw was like that, because it's just constantly bang 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 going.
And I literally thought of Berlin when I was watching, even though it's a French movie and all. Like there's a bit in it where the girl goes, there's one girl from Berlin and she's like, France, I moved to France to do dancing, and she was like, and they're like, is dancing not big in Berlin? She's like, it's huge in Berlin. She's like, but so is drugs. And she's like, it's too intense. She's like, I had to get out of there.
Suicide Circus. Like.
Well, don't drink that punch.
If anyone has been to Berlin, you know exactly what she's talking about. Like, those guys are crazy.
Suicide
for
Circus is right. Like, hey, that's on Netflix, is it?
That is on Netflix. It's an hour and a half long. If you want to scare the shit out of yourself in a very realistic way, and also enjoy some beautiful colours and some incredible dancing with some great music.
Definitely don't do acid watching.
Yeah, don't be under the influence of any sort of drug that will give you some sort of a bad trip, because this movie is a bad trip from start to finish. Like, but it is incredible.
Are an hour and a half long films the best?
Superb.
Yeah,
The best.
If you can make a movie,
You can watch it
in 90
any time.
minutes, you
It could be like 11:59. You'd be like,
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. You know, yeah, it could be like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, there's
like, only an hour and a half.
There's nothing worse when you've been on the PlayStation until 2 in the morning. You're like, oh, it's going to be really hard to get through The Godfather now.
But it is. It's if you can pace a film well in an hour and a half. You know what I love when I'm watching an hour and a half, and it's a total testament to the film. When I'm watching a film that's an hour and a half long, and I'm like, God, this is going on ages.
Yeah, when you
But
feel it.
but it's like it's not in a complaining way. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're
it's
like,
this is really gone far for what it actually
for
is.
what it
you
is,
know?
like, exactly, yeah.
Which is my film that I was actually going to recommend that I watched recently. Should have watched it when it came out, but I feel like it like simultaneously did go under the radar and it didn't go under the radar, which is Wes Anderson's The Isle of Dogs, and that's only an hour and a half long, and it's his kind of first step back into animation since Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is incredible.
yeah,
as well.
that's
Have you
a
seen
banging
Fantastic?
film.
Yeah.
It's also on Netflix.
I
watched it
regret-
originally on
I'm,
Netflix, but
like shamefully admitting I haven't seen Isle of Dogs yet.
Me neither.
Well, I'd only seen it.
Is it the same style as Fantastic Mr. Fox? Like kind of
It's-
stop motion?
it's a little bit better.
very similar? Very
I
similar.
think it looks nicer. I've
It
only
looks
watched
a
the
lot
trailer.
nicer.
Yeah,
It looks a
yeah.
lot- I don't think that it's
Not
completely
that-
stop.
yeah.
Like it obviously isn't completely. Maybe it is.
But no, I think it was done with computers. I think
Yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox was actually done.
Yeah, like Wallace and Gromit took like 8 years.
8 years to
Like
make a
that's
5-minute movie.
It's an interesting thing to look up. But anyway, it's basically like in a dystopia. It would have been a good one for one of our previous podcasts. I feel like a lot of the films we're going to talk about today are going to be good ones for the dystopia.
Yeah.
You really don't realize how big that genre was until you started going looking for it.
It's just film.
Just film in general is usually a
Next,
dystopia.
next week we're doing film.
But and it's a dystopia where in Japan there's a dog flu and also another flu called like snout fever or something, which dogs are rampant with, and they're afraid that it's going to spread into humans. And this like fascist dictator comes up and he takes control of Nagasaki, and he ships all of the dogs in Japan off to this trash island, like this heap of trash just floating in the water, and all the dogs just kind of had to live there. And it's really horrible and grotty, even though it's like animation, but it's also like really funny and really Wes Anderson in the fact that like it's like the pack of dogs is like Ed Norton, Bill Murray, Bryan Cranston, and just all of these
Like
top,
massive
top
actors.
actors,
Yeah.
who all just have like the best banter ever, and
Yeah,
like their
yeah.
dogs just walking around like fighting over trash and everything, until this like young boy comes to save them, or to look for his dog. Sorry, I'm just trying to look up at the same time here, like was it actually all stop motion? But anyway, the young boy, which is really cool, is all you can understand the humans in the film.
Oh, that's very cool.
That's really cool.
They're all speaking Japanese.
That's very cool.
But all of and it says at the start, it's like all of the humans are speaking in their natural tongue. So there is some English speakers, like there's a foreign exchange student, and then Francis McDormand is like a narrator, who's like kind of translating the dictator throughout his speeches, which is really cool as well, because Francis McDormand, anything she's in,
It's just superb.
Her voice alone is just a great thing to have.
She is a diamond.
she is. But although her and Tony Collette are totally interchangeable.
Tony Collette is Francis McDormand without the Oscar.
But it's really cool in that sense. It's really like stylistic and everything, and it does say at the start that all of the dog barks have been transferred into English.
Into English, like,
And it's so Wes Anderson.
It's your
in a way,
typical
that it's just
quirky-
the quirkiest thing you've ever watched, but like in such a good like storytelling way, and it just progresses. And like it's funny because they understand words like your man is like saying "sito," and everything like that. But the animation in it is incredible. It's next level. I don't know how he did it, and how like do you ever look at a Wes Anderson scene and you're like, how did he think to design it that way?
Sometimes you look at some of his frames and they're like a painting, like
Yeah.
single frame.
Exactly,
Like
yeah,
that's,
like
there's
a
so much
painting.
going on in that one frame.
I need to
like,
cop
it's
on and
like-
just fucking have a day
Of just
Wes
Wes
Anderson.
Anderson
I'm
stuff,
really
like,
shit.
yeah.
Like I'm really shit at that. He's just the
like-
one director that I'm like, I just haven't really gotten that into him.
I
yet.
think you'd really like him as
Yeah.
well.
I know, I don't
think you'd
understand.
be a
I've tried
big
to watch
fan,
the Grand Budapest like a couple of times, but I don't know, maybe just wasn't in the mood or whatever.
He is a delightful watch. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Royal Tenenbaums. I only watched that recently as well. That was one I
That's
had
like
to
the
knock
one
off
that's
the
like
list.
everyone says to get you into. Wes
Okay,
Anderson,
yeah, I'll start
watch
off on
the
that.
Royal Tenenbaums, like,
This is
yeah.
based in Japan, yeah?
Yeah.
I wonder if it has anything to do, you know that island of Hashima? That's the abandoned Japanese
aban-
mining island.
that your man goes to in Dark Tourist.
Yeah, he goes to in
yeah.
Dark Tourist and James Bond where he meets.
They filmed that.
Yeah, they
thing,
filmed
yeah,
that there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's like a massive island
There was
built up. Thousands of people there,
live
and all
there
like
at
the
one
same kind of house or whatever. But like I'm getting real Isle of Dogs vibes.
Yeah,
off the
I'm
island.
getting
I
that
googled
kind
it
of-
there, but I can't find anything.
Yeah.
Cannot find anything. But yeah, but it was in Skyfall. That's what it was in.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look for whether or not this is fun fact here. The Isle of Dogs is a play on the words I love dogs.
No way.
If that wasn't,
I guarantee there's going to be someone here listening to this going like, oh my
shit.
god.
you look over at Jack in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's one of those films where you kind of go into it and you think that it's going to be for kids, and it's going to be one of those things of like, oh, like dogs this and dogs that, and like.
I think it was kind of marketed that way.
Yeah,
as well.
I remember this.
It was
Yeah.
kind of like, you know,
Back when
like
films were marketed.
at all.
Well, Tenet is marketed now, but like I'm telling you
Kind
now.
of though.
Yeah. It's like
Kind
so
of. I've
half
seen,
Irish.
like,
Like, come on,
I've
give me a
seen-
fucking Instagram ad
I've
here.
seen a couple of ads. That's it. Like.
I'm telling you, the future of cinema is going to be fucking like Mulan. Not to get off topic here, but Mulan
what
came
you're
out for
watching
30
it.
quid, despite the fact you're paying for Disney Plus.
Yeah. Now I did see a lot of parents be like, I would actually pay.
Well,
this.
can you watch it again and again and again, or is it once off?
I think it's one.
Like, do you have to unlock it?
like
Like a Lego Star Wars where you collect all of the things and then you get the new character. Like,
Yeah.
Well, that would
Just-
be chill for a streaming service.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because it's going to end up on Disney Plus anyway. So like they're gonna put it on Disney Plus anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Eventually,
Like,
I don't
It's
know.
what I mean,
It's
Sky
such
does
a
that.
it's such a weird
Yeah,
business
well,
model.
yeah, you can rent the movie.
When you see something on the Sky Store, you're like, right, I only have to wait.
Yeah, but the Sky
3 more
Store
months.
the Sky Store is like pretty good though.
It's
Like,
very,
as soon
it's
as the
very
movie-
cheap. It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
cheap.
It's
Like
reasonable.
I really during lockdown really wanted to watch fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so now I own it forever.
I did the exact same
It
thing.
was like 10 quid or something.
yeah, I bought it as
So
yeah.
so worth it. Like,
That's a
Did you
movie.
actually buy it?
It's a movie worth owning. It's 100%.
Well, I was watching it on
You'll
the
watch
TV.
it so many times.
no,
suppose.
okay, I have a confession. I was streaming it and it stopped working.
And you were
So
like,
then I bought it. I was like, I can't fucking
I
deal with
yield.
this. I was like 2 hours into it and I was like, you
Yeah.
know what,
I have
can't.
such like when I went to watch Isle of Dogs, I was streaming it, and it started. The first stream I clicked on started without a bother, and went along like it was fine for the entire thing. And I've never been more shocked in my life.
Yeah.
that, like,
Well, it's
there were
always in
no
the back of your
ads.
head.
I could pause it whenever it went.
Yeah, I know.
I just realised how on edge I always am whenever I'm streaming anything.
Yeah,
because
I
I
know.
remember even Hunt for the Wilder People, this was the worst one that ever happened.
Oh, yeah, that was a terrible link.
Did you? It was like, I watched it for 45 minutes. And then it said I needed to make an account with a credit card.
Yeah.
They lured you
sure,
in.
sure. We watched fucking. We watched something on Facebook.
Did we?
Yeah, do you remember we watched we watched the host on
Oh,
Facebook?
yeah,
I watched the
yeah,
host
yeah.
on Facebook on my phone.
Did you watch it on your phone?
Oh yeah, it was
that's
crap.
Ew. I at least watched
I would
on
have bought it,
Facebook
but
on
it
my
was
TV.
impossible.
Well, this is the thing. It's that's one thing that annoys me with streaming services. As I said, I pay for Amazon Prime, I pay for Netflix, I pay for all these things. They're missing so much.
They're missing
content.
almost every film you want to watch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Like, I'm being straight up real.
If there's a
They're
movie
missing-
you want to watch on that day,
Netflix are literally like, we're into TV. Here are the fucking straggler films we
Yeah.
managed to
Yeah,
get the rights for.
but Netflix are in big trouble in the next couple of years. Watch the really interesting video on this because their biggest performers worldwide
amazing.
is The Office, and The Office
gonna
is
be-
gone.
Yeah.
It's gone in maybe a year or 2 years. Friends is their biggest performer
at the moment.
at
yeah.
the moment, but that's also going to be gone in a couple of years.
Well, we don't have The Office over here, the US.
Yeah, but in the US, like, so that's like the number one. It's apparently like
And
it's
Friends
huge.
is gone as well.
It's
Nicola?
weird. Like,
Well,
do you
like
remember they
I think
took,
everyone's taking back their properties and started their own streaming service. So basically, what was supposed to defeat cable TV will just become cable TV. Not that we have like proper cable TV over here.
No, but it
like,
will. Well, but you'll pay like a package to have like. I think you'll pay like a package to have like
Yeah,
Netflix.
and I think
like,
they'll
HBO.
really get on
Capitalism will
streaming.
prevail.
Yeah. They'll think they'll really get tough on streaming.
But the thing is, like over in America, you have a lot more choice. Stuff like Hulu's not really big here.
Hulu's supposed to be fucking massive.
Yeah,
Can you get
it's
Hulu here?
huge. You
think
can,
with a
but I
VPN,
don't know how
yeah.
it. Yeah, and then you can also get in America
VPN, like-
HBO Max, which actually has great stuff.
HBO
on it.
Max
Yeah,
is
but
meant to be unbelievable.
it has
Yeah.
We've got
I'm
Sky,
surprised
though.
we've never had it.
It's
We get
because Sky
We have Sky Atlantic.
Sky Atlantic, yeah.
But
We
Sky
have Sky
Goes
Atlantic
great.
instead of HBO.
But
Max.
that's what it is. It's
That's a
like because they
fucking
have
bummer.
like Chernobyl.
That's true, yeah.
Succession.
We get everything of it.
We get like some of them.
Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
came out.
The Wire, I think, was
Sex and
HBO.
the City.
Game of Thrones.
Sex and the City's so
Sex and
good.
the City,
HBO is
yeah.
the best.
HBO is incredible.
Home box
goat,
office.
is it?
Yeah.
They live up to their name.
They really do.
It
They
really
really,
feels
really
like
do.
you're in the box office.
Anyway, Jack, do you have anything to recommend?
Yeah, so I shout out to Cal for not recommending this, but I thought it was Platoon because there's just so many. Okay, there's so many Vietnamese war movies. Okay,
There's so many.
There's so many. Okay,
Where
but
the Americans are so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sad I had to invade that country.
yeah, well,
I'm
yeah.
sad I had to commit all those war crimes.
Yeah.
I burned down that village.
Someone did something with consequences.
Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen a couple of years earlier.
Yeah. No, I actually think Platoon actually explores the kind of
the PTSD,
the horrible
kind of,
fucking
the horror of it, like,
Charlie Company
Yeah,
kind of aspect.
Sorry,
I don't know
not
if you
to
know
go
about
on.
Charlie Company, but I'm not getting into it on the podcast.
yeah.
But yeah, so I watched Full Metal Jacket for the first time ever, and it's fucking blew me away.
It's great.
I knew about Drill Sergeant, so I have his name up here because I watched a really.
Is it Lee Ermey or something?
It is R. Lee Ermey,
Arlie
and so he actually was
Is
a
that
drill.
his name in the
No, his
No,
his
he's Sergeant Hartman.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Drill Sergeant Hartman. So he actually was really interesting story. He was a drill sergeant.
He was-
he
I know this
served
fact,
in
yeah.
he served in Vietnam. Got Purple Heart, I believe. So
Yeah.
he said that he wanted a really long career in the military, and then like he couldn't. Because he got the Purple Heart or whatever. So just started working a normal job. Then got into like advertisements. So was doing like motorcycles, Levi's jeans, cigarettes, like fucking cool shit. You know.
Yeah, like, he was a bit of a model, like, was he?
He was a model,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, like, have you seen him when he was
Yeah, he's
younger? He
fresh
was
guy,
literally
like,
like,
yeah.
it was like Don Draper and Mad Men or
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
And then he started, like, I think he went to Papua New Guinea or something, and someone made a war movie there, and it was another Vietnamese war movie or whatever. But he knew the technical director, got mates with him, has a really small part, then just worked his way up in the industry. Then he was technical director for Full Metal Jacket, and they were interviewing all these drill sergeants,
Yeah,
and he
it's
was like,
like
"Fuck it, let me do it myself."
Yeah, he was
And-
literally like to Kubrick, I'm doing this part.
Yeah,
like.
yeah. But he was also in charge of like everything technical director does. So like authenticity. So he said he had 100 different veterans that he knew, and he'd from all over the country, and he'd
Get
call
them
them
to
up and
tell
be
their,
like,
like-
"What was it like being a Marine? What was it like being, a journalist, sniper, whatever? Like, what was it like? Tell me some fucking stories."
Some stories to build
Yeah.
up like this world of like
Yeah, and like so they actually all obviously, like, I'm sure you guys both know this, but just for the podcast's sake, they all went through the actual training, and they put them through or whatever, and like for days, like he's 150 pages apparently of just insults
No
that they
way.
wrote down. So he used to go over to the house on Sunday, sit down, just he'll go at it, and then someone would handwrite them out, and then they'd send them back up in the script,
And so they just
and they
dropped
pick
them
the
in
juicy
at
parts. He
different
said,
point, like, that
quote
was
unquote,
amazing.
pick out the juiciest
juicy
part.
bit.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not mistaken thinking that the majority of this was shot in England, wasn't it?
it's all
It
shot
was
in
all
England.
shot in
It was
England,
all
yeah,
shot in
essentially.
England,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Kubrick
think-
was like afraid of flying. Isn't that it? Apparently he was a weirdo for like Britain.
Well, there
He should have been afraid of the elite. I'm sorry.
But there is a scene in Vietnam though, in it, isn't there? Like, as in like
presume.
no, there's a scene in like a little Vietnamese city.
Isn't that meant to be Saigon?
That's
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
That looks like a Vietnamese.
Oh no,
that
man!
looks like
It's
a-
probably Sheffield or something.
You could recreate
To be
that
fair,
incredibly.
I mean, if Kubrick could shoot the moon landing,
Yeah.
he can
I mean,
he
yeah.
can fake Vietnam.
But I mean, it's even just like they're just outside like a small restaurant.
Yeah,
cafe,
it's
so,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
like,
very contained.
I've heard that line, pretty racist line.
Which
Me
love you long time.
Yeah, pretty stereotypical line.
Well, I don't know
like 1,000
whether,
times. I never fucking knew it was from
I
Sweden.
didn't realize it came from that too.
Mm.
It's because it's become
cool,
such like
isn't
a
it?
because actually it's actually been. I feel like loads of people actually associate.
It's been in
it
Family
with,
Guy.
With, like,
It's definitely been in
Thailand,
Family Guy.
because
Yeah.
the prostitution in Thailand, but it's actually the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
But
But what I love about that film so much is that it ends at the start of their tour.
Yeah.
And
Like,
they just all know there's like a group consensus, a collective realization that, oh fuck's sake, like why are we here?
why were
Like,
we
Yeah.
here? Yeah. It was like it's literally
Class.
like it captures as well. I think just the whole the idea that the military breaks you down to build you back up again.
Well, they're war machines.
But,
Like
yeah,
that's what
war
they
machines,
are. Like
yeah, essentially.
it's
And,
pretty
like,
fucked up. Like
and how some guys are able to adapt
yeah.
to it.
Well,
and
you
so
either
on.
you turn up like Sergeant, what was his name? Sergeant Shy, is it? Or sorry, Private Pile.
Private Pile.
You turn out like Private Pile, or you turn out like the guy in the gunner seat who's just saying every. It's like the old fucking horrible American phrase: "Every dead Vietnamese is a Viet Cong."
Yeah, exactly.
And like he
yeah,
says something along those lines.
it's something along those lines.
But like your
yeah.
man's journalist, he's working for the Stars and Stripes newspaper, which actually was a newspaper.
Yes, it was. It was a
Lovely bit of propaganda.
propaganda,
Yeah, like fucking some
what's his nickname in it again? Joker, is it?
Joker. Yeah. So
It's excellent though, isn't it? Like I mean,
yeah, it's so
really,
good, and it doesn't look like it was
It's
made
the
in
best Vietnam War
1987.
film.
it's
Yeah, I
like,
think so.
it's-
I haven't seen Deer Hunter, but I've heard that's fucking
Well,
unreal.
you know what? It is a Vietnam War movie that is actually has no patriotic bullshit about it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I can understand why.
Platoon,
Platoon,
the
like,
stupid fucking.
Tropic Thunder getting shot.
See, yeah,
50
it's one of
times.
the Vietnam War film. Like it is so unbelievably like cliched in the sense that there's always
Yeah.
that kind of like omniscient like objector
Yeah.
who's just watching everything happen.
Yeah.
When like in reality, I know that a lot of American soldiers went over there against their will, and the draft must have been a
Horrible experience.
Horrible
Like,
thing.
you know what I mean?
And
Like,
if you
to know
were
that, yeah.
African American, you were just going
You were just
over.
going
like,
over.
This is,
Yeah.
but essentially, like these films are kind of like painting, like it's like the Nazis going into France and having an awful time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so true. It's
Lieutenant
really-
Cutler
it
was
a
very
horrible,
sad,
horrible
like.
war.
It
like,
was.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'd love to see like Vietnamese perspective on all these fucking films.
Well,
I
Spike
would
Lee's
love to see it.
The Five Bloods was a very good perspective in just a sense where it was
flipping
like
the
everyone thinks they were done wrong by this
Yeah,
by this
100%.
war, you know,
Yeah.
and I think that was a good perspective to have. But yeah,
and to see
Vietnamese-
like what was this, Jack? Was this 80s? Was it?
1987.
Yeah, I mean that's only. I mean the
Yeah.
war was probably only finished a couple of years.
Oh,
They pulled
man.
out of Vietnam in
That war was
70,
like 100 years
79
long.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Like
wasn't it?
between
Or-
the fucking French,
Was it
British,
in the
and
80s, is that?
Americans, like
it was
Was it
it was
just
Nixon.
before the
It was
wall?
Nixon who pulled them out. I remember. It was Nixon who pulled them
Yeah.
out. So he only did a couple of years of his second term. So that probably would have been 76 or so. So it was.
Well, like what's wild for the Vietnamese is like speaking of them, like if they went ahead and they made a film from their perspective, like they don't have time for that because like right after this they were invaded by China.
Yeah.
Right before the Americans, they belonged to Japan
French.
for a few.
Japan,
Then
yeah.
they're French.
The
and then
French,
the
yeah,
Cambodians even tried to invade at one stage, so they've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've really had it rough.
It's only in the last like few years that they've kind of like things have really calmed
Yeah.
down.
I mean, we went to Vietnam, and we were kind of talking to a couple of the people in Hanoi, being like, how do you feel towards Americans? Because we were thinking, you know, the way we're all a bit bitter against British people. I mean,
100%.
like even if we don't take it seriously, we're
Yeah,
a bit bitter.
Yeah.
It's that idea.
And
of
they were
like,
like, no, it's the Chinese. Like the Chinese invaded us last,
Yeah.
and then it will probably won't be the Chinese when the next people invade.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
they'll feel bad about the Americans in about 100 years.
in
I'd
100
say. Yeah.
they haven't even had time to digest
It's gonna take another
the
generation.
last invasion.
My little brother is half Vietnamese, and the last time I saw him, he was wearing the American flag T-shirt, and I was like, okay.
Something's gone so
Yeah, he
hard
liked
wrong
the
here.
sequence. I was like, okay, yeah, you probably won't when you're 20, but
I'll let you have your fun.
Yeah,
yeah. All right, is that pretty much?
Yeah, so-
well, do we watch anything else? I mean,
Well, I watched the Umbrella Academy this
Yeah,
week.
Yeah.
I also started.
I'm terrible at TV
Yeah,
series. So.
yeah.
I've been really bad since we started the podcast. I don't know about you guys. I've been so bad at TV.
Because
Yeah,
TV
it's
is
tough.
such commitment, and
It's
when it
very
doesn't
much
pay
commitment.
off, you're
Well,
like,
it doesn't
oh
pay
my
off,
God.
you're like,
at least when you watch a movie,
I've been hurt before, you know.
Yeah, at least if you watch a movie and it's like not that good, you're like, okay, that was 2 hours or
Yeah.
whatever. When you've watched like 7 episodes or something, and you're like, this is going nowhere.
Yeah, you've wasted
Yeah.
7 hours.
Yeah, like oh,
It
honest to
is,
God.
yeah, it's really rough. But anyway, the Umbrella Academy, it isn't like that. If you enjoy The Boys obviously being the
We've talked
Amazon
about it at
Prime.
length, which is
Yeah.
coming back. Season 2 is coming back.
Yeah,
it
September
started
4th.
September
Yeah,
4th,
very
yeah,
soon,
my
yeah.
mother's birthday.
Happy
But anyway,
birthday.
the Umbrella Academy is kind of like an emo version of The Boys.
100%.
But in like the best way possible. It's
Yeah.
written by your man Steve Blackman, the
Um,
lead singer of My Chemical Romance.
no,
he's
so,
not,
so, sorry,
I'm
it's
mixing it up.
Jared Way.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's cousin.
But yes, I just saw that clip on
Yeah.
on YouTube the other
That's
day.
fucking weird.
He barely acknowledges it. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, we're related. And he's like, and then Kevin James, what's his name? Kevin Smith is like, oh, you should get him on here. He's like, yeah. He's like, So anyway, like,
Yeah.
my whole philosophy about life is
Yeah, martial arts.
But sorry, he's actually
DMT.
he's actually the creator of Fargo, Steve Blackman.
Yes,
Who,
he's the showrunner. Yeah.
Yeah, and the season 4 for that's coming out soon.
Fargo, they're doing another
which was
season
announced.
of it.
They are, yeah, and it has Chris Rock, I believe, is the.
They've really got they've mixed the cast with that a lot.
Well, yeah,
Ewan McGregor.
You know what's strange about Fargo, and I love the Coen Brothers, is it's one of those films. It's on my list. This is included with like Black Hawk Down, but it's just one of those films I never was able to get through.
You never got through Fargo?
Fargo, no.
I love Fargo.
I don't know why.
I didn't get through it the first time.
Big.
That's
fan.
fair enough. I really like the TV series as well.
I heard the TV series actually
Yeah,
better.
well,
than
it
the
actually
movie.
is. It's like it's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
because like
it's-
all the small characters that you see throughout it are like so much more in depth. I mean, the movie's
Yeah.
great. It's like an hour and a half as well. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
very
quite
short.
like, yeah.
But no, it's really worth a watch. I think Netflix run that, do they?
I don't. Well, they definitely have
It's
never.
been-
they've
yeah,
never
it's
taken
been
it
on
off.
the
It's been
thing.
on since like
But
the start,
everyone's
yeah.
brilliant in that. Like it's
Yeah.
actually a really funny
Ewan
story.
McGregor was in it.
Yeah, it's really fucking funny story. Like they just for the first season's basically it's the movie, okay.
Okay, yeah.
But
It's
I mean,
simple,
it
it's
goes
simple.
on from that.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah, he fucking hates his wife. He hates his wife, and like I'm not spoiling anything. Fargo came out fucking years ago,
Yeah.
and he organizes. Well, in the movie, he organizes to get her kidnapped.
Yeah.
But in the TV series, he organizes someone to get her kidnapped, and then they're having an argument in the basement. And this is the first episode, so it's not going to be enough. And
And he
she's
kills
giving out about the fucking washing machine, about something, and he just turns around and hits her with the hammer.
And
And then
she's dead.
the assassin turns up, and he's like, "Oh fuck,
Fuck, you've done my job for me."
Yeah, and it's like you except he really fucked up because he's
Yeah.
fucking got like the other guy was just gonna simple
like-
job,
yeah.
and like the police turn up and everything. It's just really good.
He's really square as well. That's the thing about Fargo. Like, is the like,
Martin Freeman. He's literally like,
Yeah.
where is it? Alaska or is it Canada?
It's. I thought it was Canada when I first watched it, but it's actually like it's North America anyway.
Like,
Fargo.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
yeah.
Like one of those states where you're like, oh, what the fuck is in
What is
Minnesota?
going on
Yeah.
out there? Like, yeah.
But I remember there's an unbelievable scene in that where Billy Bob Thornton, he's like this, he's the kind of assassin character in it, and a cop pulls him over, and he's wanted all over like for all of the shit that's happened, and the cop comes up and Billy Bob Thornton is like, there comes a time in your life when you make the wrong decision at the wrong time, but this is the moment where you can go back on it. Just this moment that you pulled over the wrong person to realize that and to just walk away from the window and just ignore that you ever saw me, and the cop just turns around and walks away.
Walks away. Like, that's a little bit
fucking would,
like,
like.
that's very Coen Brothers because like in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
When Javier Bardem is like.
He does that.
He's
he
like,
does that
yeah,
to the
he
person.
actually does do that. Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
and he
like,
kills the cop because I
yeah.
watched that recently, which is
Yeah.
a fucking unbelievable
That's a great movie. That's also on Netflix.
Yeah,
If
it just
anyone
actually
wants
got on
to watch that.
Netflix. It's such a good film.
Another movie that they've added back to Netflix as well, which was off for a few years, but it's back. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I watched it recently. That
I've
was
never
one of the,
seen
that was
it.
the film I watched recently.
I've never
Super.
seen it. I was
Absolutely
recommended that
great
like
film. It is.
20 years
You
ago.
know what
probably.
it is? I watched it because Coen Brothers can be quite dark.
It's
and
Coen Brothers.
It's
isn't
Coen
it?
Brothers as well.
I feel like Coen Brothers is kind of like one of those.
They have
directors-
quirky dark comedy
Yeah.
and stuff and all, but this
I mean, even that cigar walks around with a fucking
a cow fucking
a cow euthanizer, a
That,
prod.
that's his
Yeah.
weapon. Like,
Yeah, that's his weapon. He knocks out door handles. with it.
Yeah.
But like, Oh Brother Where Art Thou is a joy. It's so much fun. It's
You know what pissed me off though? It's based on Homer's The Odyssey.
based on the Odyssey.
And yeah, I get that they go through all of their kind of
That's
like
such a
trials and
that's
their
such a
adventure.
vague
And
thing to
they
be
had
based
never
on.
read
it
it.
exactly.
I looked into it. Neither of the Coen
What
brothers
did
had
they
ever read
fucking
it.
look it up on Wikipedia?
They
like?
just kinda
Essentially,
knew what happened.
they know the outline of the story, so they're like, let's just base it.
And
off
like
that.
your man, like the George Clooney's character is called Ulysses.
Ulysses,
Which
yeah.
is Ulysses is the Odyssey.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
It's just
Even that book, even the book Ulysses is based.
that's
on the
Ulysses.
Odyssey.
Is the
Yeah,
Odyssey.
yeah.
Odyssey.
But it's got George Clooney, John Turturro, and who is that third guy again? I've seen him and stuff.
he was the only one I didn't know.
Anyway, it's the three of them, and they're these hicks, and
They're in a
essentially
chain gang,
they're a
basically.
chain gang. They escape, and they're going through like they're on the run, and they end up recording a hit single that
Just as
they essentially invent rock and roll.
the soundtrack was so successful that there's been 2 like sequels to it called "Oh Sister Where Art Thou?"
No
and
way.
"Oh Brother Where Art Thou Too?" and it's toured like the
No
soundtrack
way.
because it's so famous.
Well, that song, "The Man of Constant Sorrow," is incredible.
But that's obviously that's a song from like
Yeah, it's like an
Michael
old,
Ross,
yeah.
And George Clooney like tried his best to be able to perform it.
Apparently, he just
and
couldn't.
He just couldn't.
Here's a question for you: is what do you think about musical biographies?
Yeah, so like, as you said, like Walk the Line's a good movie. Like there's movies that's like musical. It's a musical, and it's also telling the story of the person. And then Walk the Line is basically a biographical film with music in it.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I'm game for that and when it's done well, but I hate movies that get credit for like I felt like Bohemian Rhapsody, everyone liked it because everyone likes Queen's music.
Yeah.
Everyone was like
Queen's music is pretty chill.
Yeah, like I mean it's amazing. Like
Queen is
like,
incredible.
Yeah, but like everyone was banging on about how they recreated Live Aid like nearly shot for shot for the last 30 minutes of the movie. That I don't give a shit about that. I'll watch Live Aid.
Yeah, Live Aid's
amazing. That performance is so good.
And Live Aid is so well documented.
Yeah, there's so much footage on it. Like the whole thing.
It would almost be hard for them not to do it.
They probably just should have showed Live Aid.
But to be fair, I know you haven't seen this, have you?
No.
Well, I have my complaints about it. I don't think Rami Malek deserved the credit that he got. I thought he was great, but at the same time, like he is.
The problem with Oscars these days.
You can't match Freddie Mercury's voice, but at the same time, like, why is he getting credit for portraying Freddie Mercury when he can't do the voice?
Class moustache though.
But anyway,
I liked his teeth too.
The teeth, the fake teeth he wore. Like.
Yeah, I do think that like it was a good story to tell, like because I feel like with Walk the Line and the likes of Bohemian Rhapsody, I think Walk the Line is a far better film, mainly based on Joaquin Phoenix, but
just being Johnny
they're
Cash.
They're based on interesting lives
people,
and interesting like and people who really went through shit. I mean, like Freddie Mercury had AIDS, you know. I mean, like it's kind of it's in the same vein as Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
More so than it is like the likes of Rocket Man.
Sorry, Straight Outta Compton is absolutely incredible.
I haven't seen it, and I need to fucking cop on and see it.
Have you not seen it?
No, man. It's on Netflix looking at me, and I'm just like, you are 2 hours and 20 minutes long, my friend.
It is long.
I don't think it'll feel like that though.
It's a journey of a movie. It's really good.
Yeah, it probably goes through like.
Also, another problem is about these like biographical movies is they always gloss over, like if they were dickheads. Like I love NWA, I love Ice Cube, I love Dre. I think they're like some of the greatest artists ever. But like Dre has a history of like domestic abuse. Like we can't, do you know what I mean? But it's just like glosses over.
That's the
that
thing.
stuff.
Dre is literally like it's why I don't like biographic films in general, and that's why I like Walk the Line. Walk the Line. Johnny Cash was the villain.
Yeah,
but but in Straight Outta Compton, Dr. Dre is like an Ice Cube are like not so much Easy. But they're like these like heroes who don't have any issues, who don't have any like faults or flaws.
They're icons.
Actually, to be fair, the one scene I was like, that is actually funny. They did that. They show Ice Cube smashing up a record label, like. And
but that was so kind of like. Standard.
Yeah, it was like the white guy owes me money.
Yeah, that was like, are we there yet?
Yeah. But to be fair, it's actually you're right in saying that because like Eazy-E, the general view of Eazy-E was that he wasn't actually that talented and that. Like he had a serious history of being a drug dealer, and they don't shy away from any of that. They show him as like a full-fledged drug dealer.
Yeah, they do. And like you really appreciate that throughout the film as well.
Also, like
Suge Knight being in it was
that was outrageous.
And like
that man should never get out of prison.
I'm pretty sure he was like the devil incarnate. Like
he was just awful.
Like he was a terrible person. Like, but I feel like he took all the rep for like everyone else having a lack of flaws. I think that he is just genuinely the devil.
Yeah, he seems.
Is he still alive?
He's in prison.
And I hope he never gets out.
Because he ran someone over on the set of Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, no. Fuck it wasn't on the set of Straight Outta Compton.
Was it?
No, it was on the set of like a music video or something like that.
Oh, was it? Yeah. And apparently they like the fella just said it's in the film.
It's in the movie.
Oh, it is. Sorry, it's in the film. Yeah,
that'd be so weird if he did it like a film within a film.
Apparently, Suge Knight was going mad about the movie. He was like,
"Well, what's he gonna do? He's in prison."
Yeah, exactly. He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
How long is he in prison for? Did he kill Biggie Smalls? Who knows? Find out next week.
Apparently, like Eazy-E's son is like an advocate for the fact that Suge Knight killed Eazy-E, and on Jimmy Kimmel. It was either Kimmel or Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
So
that's hilarious.
There's no difference.
That's hilarious. Stop fucking laughing, Jimmy.
But anyway, it was on one of them. I think it was Kimmel, and Suge Knight was saying if he wanted to kill someone, he'd pay someone with AIDS for their blood and inject it into someone, and then they die from AIDS, and then he literally goes on Jimmy Kimmel. Now that's an Eazy-E death.
Yeah.
And in like right before Eazy was contracted AIDS, he was beaten to a pulp by Suge Knight. Yeah. That's actually shown in the film. Like he was basically extorted.
That's a whole thing about it. But it's saying that apparently Eazy-E fucked
everything.
Like
Yeah.
he just, if it had a pulse,
That guy knows how to fuck.
that guy did a lot
And
of
AIDS
fucking.
was not hard to contract.
No,
back
in the 80s. So, I mean, let's look at it that way. But anyway, bottom line, Suge Knight, never let him out of jail. But yeah, like, music, like, I feel like
They're
they,
up to
they
Dewey
draw you,
Cox.
they tend to draw you in when you don't want no pot in this shit. Do it.
Well, that's honestly like top tier.
There's no hangover.
It's not habit forming.
It's not.
I don't know. It sounds expensive. It's the cheapest drug there is.
Everyone go watch Dewey Cox joint. It's probably called Dewey Cox joint
Joint
scene.
scene or just the drug scene. But yeah, like I mean, I think those movies tend to get credit for the music that's in them. People tend to like them because
Well, they hear the songs they like. They're like, oh
and
look,
listen to the music.
it's fuck
for
the police.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think
Like,
at the same time, sometimes.
But it's like I know that song. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's kind of like, oh yeah, like I wouldn't mind watching this film just to know more about that.
That person.
Like
yeah.
like Motley Crue, The Dirt, that was on Netflix.
Yeah,
I
they did
went
have
into
crazy
that,
lives.
Yeah, I went into that and I was like, this probably isn't going to be a great film, but I wouldn't mind learning a bit about Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And I did, and it probably wasn't that great a film, but like
I'm
I
sure
don't
your
regret
dad
the
would love
watch.
it.
Yeah,
Motley
yeah.
Crue was such a 50-year-old man musically.
Isn't it like
Back in my day, we played guitar.
Anyway, this started off with me talking about the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I threw out a curveball.
Let's
Maybe.
rein that back in. I'm getting
Yeah.
the fishing rod out. I'm bringing
Go. I'm not even going to say much because go watch the Umbrella Academy. You're included in this show.
Yeah, I
It's
need
such
to-
an
I need to
enjoyable
cop
It's,
on.
yeah, it's essentially like it's just this kind of superhero
One
kind
of
of
them's a
wacky
monkey.
world.
It's
but,
kind of like the X-Men.
Yeah.
In many sense,
Yeah.
except it doesn't take itself half as seriously.
No.
It's a lot more kind of Deadpool orientated, a lot more like blood and guts, but it's not like as sexual as the boys or kind of
Yeah,
like
it's
as
not
R-rated
that-
as
yeah.
the boys. It's
And-
a tiny bit more reined in.
It's also it's brilliantly cast, and I have to say I love the aesthetic of it with the kind of use of the. It's kind of like in this weird world.
Very
where-
gothic, like.
Yeah, it's gothic, but it's also in this weird world where, like, a bit like, you know, when we talk about like Fallout, where it's like they'll have TVs from like the 50s and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
in it. Like, it's really
Reminds
got
me of
that
Hellboy,
like, big-
kinda.
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's kind of got serious
Just after
Hellboy.
watching the
Like,
trailer.
and
Yeah.
like stuff happens in it at the very start, and you're kind of like, "What the hell is going on?" And you just kind of realize that all of this stuff happens in this show.
In the
Like, I don't
space
know
of,
if
like-
you have you met Cha-Cha and Hazel yet?
Yeah.
And like when they put on their kind of blow up masks.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I first saw that, I was like, "What the fuck?" But by the end, you're so just like involved.
It's
in
so
the
cool,
world.
like,
It
you know,
is,
you're
it's
just, you like, the world building in it takes a minute to get into, because you're kind of like,
you're kind of like, "What the hell is this?"
what the hell? Yeah, and some of it comes off a bit childish at the start. You're kind of going like, nah,
Yeah.
is this? But because like there's scenes in it when they're kids and stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I mean. Also, might I add, one of the child actors, you know, the one who's stuck in the child's body. What's his name?
5.
He's incredible.
It's great.
He is so
It's great.
so good. He's there acting with all these fully grown adults.
Yeah.
And he's stealing the
And he's
scene
stealing the
in
show.
all of them.
Robert
like-
Sheehan, for instance, like who's in this? Everyone loves Robert Sheehan,
And he's great.
He's
He's great.
excellent in this. But like the
He's
kid,
competing. They're competing
like,
with each
he's
other,
competing.
like, yeah.
That being said, I think Ellen Page probably the most star-studded actor in there.
Yeah, biggest name, I'd say,
I think
in it,
that
yeah.
she falls a bit flat in this.
Oh, I
series.
just
Maybe
don't
you'll
like
find that
Ellen
I
in
think her
Page.
character's very understated.
in the
as well,
second
like-
season, you'll really find it. But
Okay, yeah.
give the show a break on the VFX and the CGI.
Yeah,
in the
it's-
first
it's-
season,
That's a given for
It
TV.
gets a lot better.
And,
in the
yeah,
second
Unless you
season.
have like $1 billion.
I think they
the
were afraid
CGI
to
is
spend
gonna be.
huge money on it as well. I think it was a bit of a sleeper hit. I don't think
Yeah.
they expected it to be as big as
But
Funny
it was.
enough-
It was huge.
Loads
really
of people
big.
loved it. Loads.
Yeah.
Funny enough, do you know who originally told me about it?
Who?
Anya.
Oh yeah,
And
she watched it. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
that's the kind of thing she'd normally hate, and she was like, I watched the full first season of it. It's so good.
She, I was literally like to her. I was. This is my girlfriend we're talking about, by the way. We were sitting there a week before it came out, and I was like, just so you know, you can watch this with me, or I'm watching the whole thing, and you're staying at home, like you're not coming over.
Yeah, you're just not you're not
And
being there for it.
Came
like.
over. She watched the first episode, and she was like, nah. she was like,
She was like talking monkey and was like,
she watched the first episode of the second season. She was like, no, don't like it anymore. And I was like,
no.
I was like, get it in the car. But anyway, it's a really good show. Give it a break
Season
in the
2's
first
out
season
now,
for the
yeah.
VFX. Season 2, it is slightly more kind of. It has second season syndrome, because one thing I was thinking of while I was watching it is the fact that it doesn't have second season syndrome because it's still a great season. It's still unbelievable. But I feel like and Game of Thrones did it to us, and there's no other show to blame except Game of Thrones for this, because even Breaking Bad, the first 3 seasons, like a lot of them there's a lot of episodes where they're build-up episodes
100%.
and different things like that, whereas Game of Thrones came along and they made it so we need every season to be
To count.
its own show.
Yeah.
It needs to be as good as its own show because our attention spans have gotten so small.
Yeah.
And it's why shows like Stranger Things have kind of like stagnated almost
100%.
and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the Umbrella Academy, when you're watching the second season, just take into account that there is going to be multiple other seasons. It is a very good season in itself.
It is building, like, because
building,
there's source material there they're working from.
Yeah.
It's not just this arbitrary
That's
thing.
good.
And also, the one thing is I worry about Netflix is their CEO came out. This was ages ago, and he said they started cancelling a bunch of shows there. Do you remember they had like an exodus where they just cancelled so
like
many
fucking
shows,
Last
like,
Kingdom.
Yeah, all these
I'm
popular
pretty sure they
shows.
got. Did they finish Narcos or just?
No, that's still going, but
Okay.
they've changed
Well,
the
even
format of
Mindhunter
it,
was
like,
probably
completely.
the biggest.
Mindhunter.
They never went ahead
Yeah.
with another Manhunt.
There was
No,
also,
they didn't, and that
no,
was
they
such a
didn't.
great series.
There was
I love
also
Cinema.
there was also that one with Drew Barrymore in it where she's like a cannibal.
Yeah, that
Um,
zombie. We
yeah,
talked about that.
we did.
before,
Yeah,
forgot
which
what
was
it's called.
I didn't watch it, but apparently it was really popular, and it was shows that you could take a chance
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
wouldn't normally get made.
Yeah,
But
this is me come back
CEOs
saying the Friends is their biggest moneymaker.
Exactly.
Like,
The CEO essentially
fucked.
said he doesn't believe that series should run past 3 or 4.
yeah.
Like, he doesn't like the idea of like 8 seasons of
Well,
something.
Stranger Things needs to fucking end.
Oh, like they are.
But it won't though. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing.
It
Yeah,
won't.
they're
It's-
gonna dig their own grave
Because
here.
Stranger Things is a hype machine. Like I'm still watch every season of it.
Did the
There's
trailer
things
for
to
that come
enjoy.
out or
I
something?
liked the last season.
No, I really enjoyed last season, but
Yeah, how many
It was one of
seasons
those
has there
things,
been?
it's kinda
Was
like-
that season 3 or season 2?
Season 3.
3.
Okay,
No,
so I
season
think
3.
4.
Now look,
the trailer
I think,
came out for
I
4,
think
didn't
they've-
it?
The trailer's out for 4.
Okay, yeah, I think
just
I watched it,
everything,
but every time it's just like, oh, the upside down's back.
The
Alright,
same
like,
thing's gonna happen.
oh,
Do you know
no,
what I mean?
like-
look, they add.
But at the
something
same time, I mean, like at the very. I don't want to spoil anything. Look, if you haven't watched Stranger Things, you want to watch Stranger Things, skip 30 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
If they'd killed Hopper at the end and actually had him die at
Had a
the
bit of
end,
balls.
it would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
They didn't have any
And
balls.
You just knew he was coming back.
It's
We watched that and I
We
was like,
watched it
right.
and I was like,
So
no
Hopper's back
way.
next
Hopper's back
season.
next
But then he started making his speech. Then he started making his like a monologuing speech that
That's
was like
beautiful.
over everyone crying, and I was like, all right,
Yeah.
you know what? This is gorgeous. He's actually gone. And no, he wasn't.
But it's not. I think Stranger Things was a thing they didn't expect to be so big. I remember when the
The
first
big
season
one,
came
yeah.
out, I didn't even expect it to be as good as it was, and I was like hooked
Oh,
within.
great
within
cast. I
minutes.
mean, like
Mm.
Winona Ryder. and
Well, I think
all that.
season
Oh,
1
I mean-
and 3 are the best. Season 2 kind
Yeah,
of
season
dipped.
2 dipped definitely.
And
Well,
I-
season 2 did because they had that X-Men episode where fucking Millie Bobby Brown.
That was the worst.
I thought they were
Awful.
really trying to like branch off with that episode and be
I
like,
think they were
we've got a
testing the
new,
waters a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit,
and
and
it's
people
just-
didn't
no,
like
no.
it, so they were
That-
like, let's
that-
not
that-
do that for season
Yeah,
3.
it's like you see it in music, like everything's just fucking 80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like The Weeknd is basically just fucking Duran Duran now.
well, like I mean, but exactly. Like, and the thing about like.
No, I'm not complaining. I like The
No.
Weeknd.
Like I mean, I get it. Like 80s stuff is popular, but like the thing about Stranger Things as well is they were the kind of first guys to do it with season 1.
Yeah.
Then other people are trying to cash in on
like
that
Sex
Stranger Things.
Education.
Sex
You know,
Education.
it's this new hype of what they're doing now as well.
80s
It's
aesthetic, but
80s aesthetic with British actors.
we discussed this. We discussed this. Do you
The
remember we said-
weirdest thing.
do you remember we discussed this. It was like it'll be an American show with a British cast
Yeah.
set in London, but it's like
It
an
is
American high school,
They're,
like,
they're,
Yeah.
they're
an
high
American
school and
high
everything.
school, like, but they're wearing
like
school
Sex
uniforms, so
what-
it's like
What's the other show I'm thinking of? Sex Education. Oh, the end of the fucking
end of
world.
the fucking world.
Yeah, yeah,
Exact
yeah.
same thing. Like,
It
yeah,
is,
yeah.
and it's such a weird road to go down. But
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it.
No,
at the
I'm
same
cool.
time.
It kind of works.
Is
in
that
a way,
Netflix?
Like, yeah, that's Netflix and Channel 4. The two of them made that in town.
I like
Like,
Channel
Second
4.
season.
Channel 4 make great
Oh,
stuff.
I watched The Press that's on Netflix.
That's meant
It's
to be great.
really good.
That's a BBC show.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so it's based off like a tabloid like The Sun, and then like a respectable newspaper like I don't know. I think it's
or
The
something like
Guardian.
that, like,
It's
yeah.
the one that went free and then has
The
like paid
Guardian.
article. Yeah, so that's exactly what they're basing it off of, and it's really really good. 6-part series. There are 45-minute episodes, and it just has like 3 or 4 different stories throughout it. It's based over a couple of weeks, and it says like it looks at how the 2 different papers
Operate,
deal with something,
essentially, like, yeah.
and like the consequences of something like The Sun saying something horrible on their front page, like they currently are, because they're a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't know how they fucking haven't gone out of business. They've done so many horrible things, like that thing when they
It's the third page.
yeah,
man.
yeah, it's the 3rd page. It's like when they called Raheem Sterling the football idiot to whatever their readership is. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a little bit like
when they changed his quote to say, "I'm never going to pick a gun
well, actually,
again."
that was Sky News. Actually, funny
Was it
enough.
Sky
It was
News?
But speaking of that, I watched a show about Rupert Murdoch, who owns Sky News.
He owns
the Sun.
media.
Yeah, the Sun, the Sunday World, which is gone now, and the News of the World. And
he did own Fox, didn't he?
He still owns Fox.
He still owns Fox. No, but he's owned by Disney now.
Yeah, well, no, he sold 21st Century Fox, all the movie studios, but he still owns Fox News, and it is incredible. It just will absolutely depress you about
they touch on this in the press,
media, and how,
this politics and everything.
How influential he is still to this day. But I think that's what press is essentially based off. Do you know what I mean?
No. There is like a Murdoch character.
Yeah, character.
I'm excited for Bezos to go up against Murdoch, against the corpse of Walt Disney in the ultimate showdown for who rules the world.
Who owns the world? Celebrity
Deathmatch. They're gonna televise it. We're gonna have to pay 30 quid on Disney Plus.
Me and Ian were talking about Succession because I just started it, and even the morning show, which I was mentioning. These media moguls are like a massive part of all of them, and it just having kind of even a glimpse into what their life is and like what a decision they make influences
impacts the world.
It's just insane. It's
crazy. It's insane. Yeah.
But anyway, we should
get on to our topic.
You know what? We're going to do Netflix recommendations on our Instagram this week, so go check them out.
Yeah.
This was kind of a glimpse into it. This was like
things we've been watching.
Half of the pod. We've been away for a while. We just kind of wanted to talk.
Yeah,
to
nice to fucking oil the cogs.
Yeah. So in the spirit of what's on Netflix, my first film with a good concept that was done poorly was actually a film that you guys recommended to me, which is Upgrade.
Oh.
By it's Venom.
By
it's not really Venom though.
Yeah, Leigh Whannell,
who did Saw.
One of the two, him and James Wan. They've gone two very different directions.
Yeah, but and I was thinking to myself, would you call Saw something with a good concept that's badly done? But I actually really like
Saw 1. I stick by. 100%.
Yeah, and Saw 2. Saw 2 is better. I think Saw 2
Have you seen like Saw 9?
Stuff has gotten crazy.
Yeah. They're going to start putting fucking Saw squared on that. Like.
But anyway.
It like they don't try to, in like sequels after 3, they stop trying to put they call it like Saw Redemption.
The final cut.
Yeah, but they were just like, no, Saw 7. We're calling it Saw 7.
How are they going to know? But it's the one after 6.
But the thing is about Upgrade.
You didn't like it?
I thought the concept behind it was great. I thought it looked great.
Love the concept.
I thought it looked unbelievable. I mean the concept was very good in a way, but it was also it's kind of cliche. But I thought the film made it look unbelievable, and the world around it,
style over substance.
Yeah, the world around it was great. But this film was such a victim of the fact that they were horror actors in it.
Yeah, it was.
They were actors who have only been in horror films, who really have had no success anywhere else. And they're trying to portray a dramatic sci-fi thriller, and your man Logan Marshall Green, the lead guy, who's essentially Tom Hardy, and
the skinnier Tom Hardy.
He's basically Tom Hardy. I mean, him in Upgrade and Tom Hardy in Venom, like you were saying, Jack, is the same thing, same coin, like different size. But Logan Marshall Green, he doesn't know what he's doing in this role. I don't think he ever did. And the lead villain, your man Vessel.
What's his name again?
I'm trying to Harrison Gilbertson. Oh no, that's not even him. But anyway, he's forgettable. I don't actually think he's an IMDb, like he has an IMDb.
I think it's interesting that you're saying it's kind of like disappointing, because like this was a movie that I was expecting to be shit.
Well, it's just you recommended it.
Yeah, you see, I went in being like, this is gonna be terrible.
It's good.
And then I came and being like, I actually enjoyed that.
Like don't get me wrong. I thought it was a good watch, but I also thought that the actors were so unbearably bad, and I was expecting like slightly better since you two mentioned it. I mean, listeners,
we're the guys who are
we're the people who are meant to be recommending it. But anyway, I was expecting like slightly higher tier, and it just wasn't in any way. But you know what, this film, and I feel like this would be another good pod kind of like this, is great villains that kind of never shown through in the story.
Yeah,
because the villain in this, your man Fisk, is really, really good, but he has one scene and he's possibly the best character
in the whole thing.
One scene on screen.
I think Lee Wan-el as well is not a very, like, I think this is the funny thing, him and James Wan I think are very good technical directors. Like, they're really good at they should be cinematographers, really. They're great behind the camera, but when it comes to directing actors and stuff like that, they're fucking terrible. Like, this is actually is quite relevant to the podcast, because remember when we first kind of started this podcast, it was like 3 episodes in, I had seen The Invisible Man, also directed by Lee Wan-el, and it was fucking shit. I stand by that. It got like decent reviews.
I
thought it was
some of my favorite reviewers give that a great thing.
Upgrade.
This movie's
7.5 on IMDb.
Yeah, but like the thing about it is Lee Wan-el's take on the old, like, it's an old story from the 50s, a campy story, but to be fair, he did an interesting take on it where the Invisible Man is a domestic abuser.
Well, to be fair, he was thrown completely under the bus.
Is a genius, and which I thought was a great concept. The movie's fucking stupid. It's absolutely so fucking bad.
I feel like because it's a movie that like highlights gaslighting and like, oh, all women are crazy.
But to be fair, that stuff was really interesting, and I was like, that's cool. And it's like you're going out with this megalomaniac, who's like a genius.
They should have explored that more.
He's minted, and it's like really good. But it just got so campy and stupid by the end. I was like, oh my god, like, and it was so grounded in reality in that sense. Now I know it's about an invisible man. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough. Like, he has the Batcave.
It was supposed to be fucking Johnny Depp.
But like, was it actually?
Well, yeah, he was supposed to play the Invisible Man.
No way.
In the fucking universe.
I actually. Oh yeah.
The dark universe.
The dark universe. Yeah. But like. And I think that was down to Lee Wan-el, like, making it really campy and stupid.
That's it. Even an Upgrade. I'll actually just run through the concept of Upgrade real quick, because I suppose that, like, we should do that for each of these films. But it's essentially a guy who gets in an accident with his girlfriend, where his girlfriend gets murdered, and he's left paralyzed by the people who murdered his girlfriend. He basically becomes a quadriplegic. I'm not sure. He can't move from his neck down. And this kind of Elon Musk type character, or just this kind of technological like savant, comes along and he says, I've got this AI chip that we can attach, and it will reconnect all your nervous system, and it will act as kind of like an aid to your brain.
Yeah,
and essentially
do all the working for your brain.
It essentially becomes its conscious.
Yeah.
And then it can learn at a much faster pace. It can analyze everything. It's essentially like having a supercomputer in your head.
And it does things for him. He doesn't really have free will over it. It's like it's like someone goes to attack him.
It begins. He has like defense mechanisms and everything and stuff like that, because the computer is controlling his movements and his body. Anyway, but that's essentially the story. Obviously, everything starts to unfold. He goes on like his manhunt for the people that killed his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's your standard
revenge story. It takes a good few twists and turns that I really like. Honestly, this film as a story is very good. I think mechanically it's kind of bad, but it looks great at the same time.
Didn't write this as well, did he?
I don't think he did, but I'll give it a quick check. But like you were saying, I feel like he does everything to ground and everything, but then like he's there like splitting people's heads open.
Yeah, I know.
And blowing people's heads up. And
my god, I've enjoyed that stuff.
No, so did I. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, you can see that he had a real hand in Saw. Like, he was really into the whole gore aspect.
And he as well. He did an interview after when he made The Conjuring, and how they'd moved away from the.
He did write this.
Yeah, he wrote it as well. Okay, fair play to him. And he did an interview about The Conjuring and how they'd moved away from it, and he was like. He's like, we're not really into the gore and the gizzards spilling out and things and all. And then James Wan was like, well, he's like, that's despite the Saw sequels. And he's like, which we didn't have very much to do with. He's like, we know we're like known as like the gore masters.
Yeah,
so he's like, we're actually not into it. But I think Lee Wan-el actually is. Because James Wan's movies are nothing like that.
Yeah.
Like they've deviated completely from
because there's so many things involved in it. It's kind of like, say you put Venom and Limitless together, and you kind of get Upgrade. But like,
and RoboCop, there's a bit of RoboCop.
They just kind of go out of there,
It's got real shades of RoboCop 2008.
Yeah, the fuck it. You know what?
No, that was like 2014.
That was a lot sooner.
I think that's probably why I enjoyed it, because I was a little bit like, this is the RoboCop remake that I wanted. I wanted like a hyper violent like movie.
Because RoboCop's fucking hyper violent.
Like. Yeah, the original RoboCop's the 80s.
Remember they had that. Remember they had that stage in movies.
Gets blown apart.
There's the radioactive man who gets like hit by a car and explodes. It's amazing.
Remember they had that stage where they were remaking all of these properties that were super violent
for PG-13,
so they could make more money. It was like 12s.
Yeah.
And then Dread came out, which I've talked about, which I love.
They did the same thing with Total Recall. That was a movie that was full of violence and
and they
nudity,
fucking
and they just made it 12, and it was
Dread,
shit.
Dread, like he's fucking there, like change the fucking incendiary and fucking fire it in people's heads and they fucking melt in front of you and shit. It's cool, like.
Yeah.
And like it's like okay, but the audience for this movie is people who want to go see gore and shit. So I feel like this is why I thought this movie was refreshing as well. Because like I want to see fucking like like when someone puts a chip in your brain, you can become the perfect fucking fighter. It's like Venom. It's like Venom should have been 18, so you
I
can
think
see
that was
it.
the intention too.
Yeah. They dumbed it down because they saw Deadpool. They saw Deadpool.
Yeah.
No, that was Suicide Squad.
They saw Suicide Squad.
Venom's Marvel.
Yeah,
But they were going to, like, we all went into Venom thinking, right, he's going to be eating people's heads.
I fully expected
And
that.
he just wasn't.
He was eating like chicken nuggets and shit.
Yeah.
Like.
Tom Hardy was
lobsters,
really like excited for it, but then I
they
feel like
fucked
he
him.
kind of had a bit of.
They fucked him over.
And I
They
love
sold him.
Tom
They
Hardy.
sold him down the river.
Who
No, he's a great
so good,
whatever fucking Venom's character name is. He's better
Eddie
than
Brock?
your man Eddie Brock. Sorry, yeah, he's better than fucking your man
Oh, Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
Yeah, that was
Who
the
was a
worst
decent
casting
actor.
call.
He's a decent
But no,
actor,
yeah,
but
great
like
actor,
he's
but
just
no.
shouldn't be fucking Eddie Brock.
Yeah, well, I can see where you're coming from with Upgrade, but yeah, because it is a cool concept, and there's probably a lot more they could have done with it too. But I think it's also a concept that has been done before as well. Like they had that other one. Remember?
I definitely don't think it's fresh. Yeah.
No, like remember? Which I actually pleasantly enjoyed as well. Hardcore Henry, which was shot POV.
Yeah, that was a movie I was thinking about. That was like a originally YouTube video, and then they crowdfunded that.
It was crowdfunded.
I thought that was about like teleporting.
No, it's about essentially the same thing as Upgrade, where it's a guy, he's getting like tested, and he's like part of this like groundbreaking research thing to give him like upgrades essentially, and his wife gets killed, and then he goes after the guys who did it, and it's directed by your man who made District 9, I think, Neil Blomkamp.
Really?
I think now, or either he's
That's a bit wild.
I think so. I know Charlton Copley was definitely in it. The star of all of Blomkamp's movies. Maybe it wasn't Neil Blomkamp. Maybe double check that. But I thought he was involved. Anyway, it was
Ilya Nash Huler.
No, there you go.
Because it was in Russian, wasn't it? Or
no, it's in it's in English. Like it's
I think there was some sort of different language in the original.
It's definitely not shot in
Charlton Copley. That's your
Charlton
man,
Copley's
isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely not. It's not like a Hollywood.
He was
movie.
awful in
Do you know what I
Elysium.
mean? Yeah, he was terrible. Wasn't he?
So bad
So
in Elysium.
bad.
I think that was kind
That
of
movie was
that was almost the end of him.
That was a waste of potential. Elysium as well.
I remember there was a line in it. It was like, because the whole idea is that he's trying to save
This child
the child, and he's trying to get it. And one of the lines in it is he's chasing the Matt Damon and the child, and he's like, "I was gonna save your daughter." Or it was like he was talking to the mother. At first, I was gonna save your daughter. Now I'm never gonna save your daughter. I was like, wait, hold up. I was like, this is the same writer, District 9 as Chappie. Like,
yeah, there was a few movies throughout the 2010s
that were like
Oblivion.
But yeah.
Elysium. What else?
I was so excited for Elysium because I was like, oh, this is like Neil Blomkamp's like big budget movie.
Very cool concept.
Yeah, that's
very
cool. There you go.
Back to it. No, very cool concept. Very poorly executed. You know what I loved? I loved how it's kind of shot as like the favelas are like so unbelievably high, and then you have like Elysium above it, where all the high end people live. That everyone who can afford it. I actually thought that was a really cool concept that they fucked.
They fucked that big time. I
but
don't
like
know if
District 9 is an unbelievable concept that was done
executed
incredibly well.
Yeah.
So is Chappie as well. So.
And this is the thing, like I think we're talking about movies that like take a very small idea and run with it, and it depends on how
They're enough to get you
how
to
the
click
rest of the
into
movie-
it. Like.
Yeah, like the one thing that drew me in about District 9 was it's set in Johannesburg, and they even acknowledged that at the start of the movie. They're like, when you see a movie, you expect the alien spaceship to land over LA or something. Like no one expected to land over Johannesburg, and for it to like go into the slums and things like that,
and for it to be like the aliens were immigrants.
Exactly.
They weren't like a different species.
No, it's like they're in a refugee camp.
Yeah,
And like that was really
prawns.
yeah.
That was a class flick.
It was brilliant. Absolutely
or it's just like even the idea of like Chappie, where it's you had RoboCop in America, but America doesn't need a mechanical police. Like
they're armed to the teeth.
They're armed to the teeth anyway. Like Johannesburg and South Africa,
it's like
need
this like a lawless
police,
nation.
You know?
Well, so going into more kind of another kind of idea of a cool concept that I think was completely wasted was Jumper.
Oh yeah.
I fucking loved the concept of it, and I
I
think
was so excited for this movie when I was fucking 10.
Yeah.
Well, like Nightcrawler, everyone's favorite X-Men.
I imagine that on like a bigger scale.
In like just the film was just based
about
around
that.
teleporters.
With Anakin Skywalker.
Like Anakin's go on
And,
Jamie Bell from
Jamie Bell, yeah.
Billy Elliot. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I fucking love this film.
I don't know how. Like,
Oh, it's
it
so
could have been
bad.
so good.
Samuel
Like,
Jackson as well as the villain.
Yeah. Oh,
I just feel like it starts off
Wait,
kind
wait,
of
you're
good.
saying Samuel L. Jackson as the villain as if it like was a bad thing?
he's
I
not.
No,
good
I'm
at it,
saying
though.
that, like-
he's not great. At it.
No, I'm saying that like it could have been so
Could have
good.
been so good.
Yeah.
fucking love Jumper.
Like the
I
concept.
had it on pirate
Yeah,
DVD.
it's
Got it in fucking.
and I just
printed
watched it
cover,
constantly.
like, yeah. Like it was literally when I was
CGI was
I
good.
was like, huh?
CGI is good.
CGI is great.
Yeah, it's
CGI
not-
is
yeah.
unreal.
It's got-
Had one of the
fucking
best
movie.
fights ever.
Yeah, like I mean,
You know when him and Jamie Bell are
In the
Christian
Colosseum.
and Jamie
the-
Bell are teleporting around the world.
the world, and they're like,
Oh
they're
yeah,
Asian.
that's-
that's
fighting,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching the MTV Awards, the only time I've ever watched them, and it will it still be the only time I've ever watched them. But one of them was the best fight in a film, and it was like the first fight of Alien versus Predator versus the fight in Jumper, and I was like, these are my kind of awards.
Why are people watching the Oscars and not this?
The fight scene from the Drake and Josh movie.
Best kiss.
You should-
Slime 'em.
Hey, look, it's Ashton Kutcher. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what it was as well? Is I think it was a victim of that early 2000s thing where
Late 2000s.
or late 2000s
yeah.
things where it was like, let's make like a bro movie where it's like a guy has a superpower, but he's really cool guy.
Yeah, Mom, I don't fucking give a fuck about
He's
school, okay?
Exactly, like yeah,
He's like surfing in Fiji.
yeah, he's like
Yeah.
banging chicks and like, you know what I mean? And it was like what was that other movie which I thought was actually another wasted concept, and The Covenant, which was like about these
Don't remember that.
they're like, it was kind of a cool concept, but it's essentially about these teenage vampires. Now it's been done before, like The Lost Boys and all.
We're sexy vampires.
But it was literally Taylor Lautner with his shirt off, just like Taylor Kitsch and stuff, just lifting weight.
Oh yeah,
it's actually,
fuck.
it's
They just got your man
extremely-
from Twilight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so homoerotic. Like it is so
Yeah.
funny. But I thought those were cool concepts that had either terrible directors, like. I mean, even like Hayden Christensen, he's not a good actor. Like, whatever about the prequels.
Unfortunately, I feel like this film as well. It was with Hayden Christensen there. It was never going to.
Never going
No.
to like.
I don't know what kind of like producer or like casting agent was like, you know what, we need Hayden Christensen. The reason why everyone hates
the
Star Wars.
prequels. Yeah, to be in this movie. Like,
Yeah, and I like him. He seems like a nice guy.
He seems like a
you know?
great guy.
He seems
And
like
you know
such a
what?
lovely
He's
guy.
in a little movie called Little Italy. I don't know
that
if
any
you've. No, it came out. It's I watched the video on it. It's like the most stereotypical like Italian things. I'm pretty sure like Christensen's not fucking Italian.
No, he's
But
not.
he's
at
He's
all.
there.
Canadian.
Yeah, yeah.
God, of course he's Canadian. He's so
He
fucking
seems
Canadian.
Like Canadian isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
he
so
does, yeah.
Canadian.
But like, you know, Jumper.
Everyone wanted to teleport when they were.
100%. It's the coolest power ever.
It is
I feel
that
like,
or
to be
flying,
fair-
but you'd have to be flying like Superman spec, like.
Well, you know, so going back onto that, then you look at a movie like Chronicle that gets it so right.
Chronicle is a film that I would say had a bad concept that did it incredibly.
Do you think?
I feel like, say if you said it on paper, because like all of these kind of found footage things had gone so bad.
Well, that's not even. I don't think that's the concept. I think that's the style.
But but the concept is kind of like a kid
It's
kind of records
intrinsic-
himself
Yeah,
going through like he gets superpowers with his friends.
yeah.
And they're just kind of messing about. It's
It's
kind of like I feel like, you know what I was thinking of, which has the worst concept ever that turned out to be one of the best films ever.
Which?
You're probably going to kill me for this. Is Inception. I think if someone came into
dream within a dream.
if someone
within
came
a
into you and they pitched it and they were like, so we're gonna have a heist that takes place in a dream.
Actually,
You'd be like,
that's a good
"Fuck
point
off."
because they literally tell you in like screenwriting 101 and stuff, and like even
Avoid dreams.
Avoid dreams.
It
like,
can't
the
be a
idea-
dream.
If
Yeah.
it can't be a dream because then it's pointless. But
Yeah.
that's a
What
good
TV
point.
show ended? No, you talk about one TV show that ended in a dream.
Dallas, the whole
Didn't,
season.
no,
the
but
entire season.
didn't Roxanne end in a dream?
The last entire season was a dream.
Yeah,
The last entire, which
Yeah.
is like insane.
yeah.
Like,
I thought Upgrade was gonna be a dream. You know, when he's kind of Planet, like
yeah,
he's kind of
yeah.
subdued.
Yeah, I would have hated that.
I was like, what the fuck, and then it wasn't.
Yeah. But
Not
yeah,
to
like I
spoil
mean,
it.
there's not a whole lot to say about Jumper. Don't watch it, but
Do watch it.
no, don't watch it.
You probably
love it.
watched it.
Any Hollywood,
That thing
if
did
you're
so
listening,
well.
please remake it and just cast.
Timothy Chalamet.
But I thought the Jumper did a good job in the sense though that it really fleshed out the power, it fleshed out like the rules
Yeah, and
of the power.
there was cool. Yeah, you're dead right there. You got the rules right.
Yeah.
And
got-
It
like,
made sense
everyone
in
was
terms of its universe.
Everyone
Yeah,
was
it's all-
behind it,
it's
but it
contained-
was just kind of it just got to the point where it was kind of like, oh, fucking hell, like does he have to teleport a house to save the one he loves?
Yeah,
and
like it was just like
Samuel L. Jackson was just a dick in it. As
He
well.
was such a dick.
yeah, like it
You
was-
think he'd just be Sander?
Yeah, and it was also just like such a
Also, just teleport behind him and break his neck.
It was very run of the mill.
It was such a run of the mill story.
Yeah.
You could have just added a little bit more like. And
Pizzazz,
I really like Jamie Bell as well. And I thought he was like good in the part. The kind of more arrogant, like more experienced jumper. Who's
Yeah.
like, you think you're the only one, and he's
I didn't
kind
think he
of
was bad at
like,
all.
no, I really liked him in it. You know, there was, but just a
It's just
I
funny.
feel like-
I think if they didn't have Hayden Christensen and the resentment held towards
You
that
know what?
man.
I'm gonna look up who directed it because it's such a stereotypical style.
Well,
of film.
look, I was going to say, I wasn't going to mention this in the podcast because we get into it so much, but since we're on it, and I think it's honestly like the pinnacle of what we're talking about, a good concept that was done badly is the prequels of Star Wars in general. Because,
Yeah,
like,
I
I feel like the
I
prequels,
totally agree with
the,
that.
Yeah.
the prequel story is far better
Than the original story.
trilogy.
The original story is a campy kind
It,
of
it
like
is, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of like a hero kind of damsel in distress,
Yeah.
defeat evil kind of drawn out story.
It's
bad-
very
like,
campy.
Bad versus evil.
Excellent, I love
it's
it.
very black and white. Yeah.
Like you had incredible actors, it was incredible technology and CG for the time and special effects. But when you look at the actual story of the prequels, it's incredible. It's like a fascist
Political.
rise to power.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
like
Political
but, like,
thriller.
it done through like you
Deception
know deception and
and-
like secret armies and
Yeah,
like I mean it's
Assassinations
great
and
trade organization,
Trade Federation.
Yeah, and everything
I
like
bet people were like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
Trade. Do you think they could have come up with a different fucking name? Like?
Trade Federation.
What do they do?
Well,
they have a load of fucking ships.
I've just seen something that's really disturbed me. The guy who directed Jumper is actually one of my. I really like this director, Doug Liman, who did The Bourne Identity. He also did one of my favorite movies of all time, The Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh jeez,
He
yeah.
has done great stuff.
Everyone has their baby steps.
He did the Bourne Identity. He did oh my god, this guy, he's kind of hit or miss. He's a bit of like a standard Hollywood director, but like he also did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which like
Brutal.
do
The
with
Edge of
that,
Tomorrow
do
is-
with that what you will.
The Edge of Tomorrow is kind of one of those things that like you'd think would be a bad concept.
That's
Don't you
very
mean
true.
Live, Die, Repeat?
That they
We've
fucked
talked
the
about how they
marketing.
fucked the name.
Fucked the marketing there.
Happy Death Day was a very good concept that turned out to be kind of shit.
Yeah, I don't
enjoyable
know, like,
though.
yeah, kind of
Kind
enjoyable.
of hot, sexy teen slasher.
Yeah, and you know what? It was a movie that had so much self
Good twist
You know
at the
what it
end.
was?
Good twist.
It had a lot of
It was
self-awareness.
the same. It was the same as the fucking Purge though, and the Purge is another thing. Great concept, bad.
Brilliant
fucking thing.
concept.
Yeah.
But they just had those quirky masks and everything, and it takes away from it so.
I watched
much.
one of the Purges, which is the one with Frank Grillo in it.
That's the third one, I think.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that Purge.
Is that the one where they break down at the start and the purge is... No,
That's the
sorry.
second one.
That's the second
The third one's where it's like the girl who works on like the.
Hawke in the first one.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But the first one was made on like a shoestring budget and it's all set in one house. And
Yeah.
it's meant to be horror. Whereas like I think they've expanded it
Yeah.
a bit more.
No, the
now
third
to
one,
be-
I
Well, that
enjoyed
was
the
like a
third
TV
one.
show,
No, the
yeah.
fourth one. The fourth one goes
What did
completely
I
out
do
the
with
That's
window.
the first
No.
purge, isn't it? That's the one where it's like a prequel. Where it's like they show how the purge came about.
I
Like,
don't know. I much prefer
Oh,
the.
it's like the United States of the Purge, and that's
Yeah.
what Frank Grillo is in.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's election year. That's
Election
we
year.
watched that. We watched
that's,
that.
that, was
Which
the,
is the
that was
which
the
is
fifth
the.
I
one.
don't understand why fucking
That's
people
the
like.
fifth one.
We've
then.
also watched the first Purge. That's when like all the gangs in New York
I've watched
are
like
like.
all the Purges. To be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
That's so they made 5.
well, there's a Purge TV show that got cancelled this year.
Okay. There's the
There's
purge.
the Purge,
The Purge Anarchy.
the
It's the
Purge
second one.
election year, the first Purge,
That's 4.
and there's apparently one coming out called the Forever Purge.
Jesus Christ! Who would have thought a franchise would be that lucrative? Can I
Oh,
ask you
Rick and
this?
Morty did it.
Is it is
Yeah.
it Blumhouse? Is it Jason Blum? You know,
Definitely.
It has
Those-
to
that
be.
money-making
It
bastard.
has to be like. Guy.
I don't know. Did they show the?
God, what a businessman.
Did they show the distribution? I don't think they
Yeah.
showed the.
50 movies a
Unreal,
year,
like.
1 million,
Yeah, it
1
is,
million budget,
Of
makes
course,
5 million
look,
at the box
Look,
office.
they must have one of those cool, like, you know, those wavy whiteboards in the office that, like, apparently, like,
They're just like,
streamlines your idea of
Yeah,
thinking. Like, they
100%
just
they're
bought
just
one.
gonna-
They chucked out like the extra $500 on that, and like they're just reeling the rewards.
They've been making
Yeah.
Funny thing, actually, I was scrolling through Netflix. Actually, it's going a bit off topic, but I saw, we were talking about this, that stupid movie Truth or Dare, and for some reason, it's not that terrible.
Have you
but
seen
it's-
the stupid
it's
fucking
not-
Instagram filter
it's
faces
it's
that they
literally
have?
Snapchat filter faces.
Yeah.
But it's not like. It's not like it's bad, but it's not like, oh my god, this is the worst movie ever. But it's just you're run of the mill bad.
I'm sorry I had to do
But
this to you.
It was marketed so weird. It was marketed as Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. So like it was real like this is like, and then for some reason on Netflix it's like Blumhouse's Truth or Dare extended cut. Like nobody asked for that.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a shit. It's so odd. Like
Yeah.
Were you saying that came up for things with good content?
no, I don't think. Well, I mean,
No, that's a
not
terrible-
really
that's
good
a terrible
concept.
fucking
That's not a good
concept.
I forget. I
concept,
saw
no.
that in a YouTube video recently as well, though.
Uh,
You know what came up for a thing with a good concept that was badly done, and I really don't understand. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I really don't understand why it gets such a bad rep. Is Passengers?
Passengers. You know why I actually think that movie would have been a lot better if they didn't tell it chronologically. So so spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Passenger. It's about a guy who wakes up on a ship, and he just decide he's on his own and he's lonely.
Well, so what
It's
it
destined-
is,
it's a colony ship.
it's a colony ship to go to a new world, and
It gets
basically
lost.
they're meant to sleep for 106 years,
Yeah, he gets woken up early,
and he realizes he can't get back
he
to
can't
sleep.
get back to sleep. So he's going around by himself for ages, and then he gets lonely enough, so he wakes up a girl and like lies to her.
He finds the
essentially.
sexiest
girl
on the ship.
ever and wakes her up like. But
That's really funny.
you know what? I think that movie would have been elevated so much better if it started with the two of them waking up. It's going on, and then you find out halfway through the movie
what he did.
what he did. That would have been way
And
better.
you
Wait,
know
what
would've
happened?
been-
What did he
You
do?
know what actually?
He so in like the movie's in chronological order, so there's no like twist. He wakes her up without her like consent.
Oh, right.
And by,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
consent, it means like she's going to die.
To
on
die
the ship.
with it, on the ship. Like.
She's never going to make it to the colony,
Mm.
and they
And
can't
then,
get back
and
to
then
sleep.
he doesn't tell her, and then if they fall in love, and then it all comes out, and then that's where your source of conflict is, which is cool. But I don't know
But
why
you know what? They fucked it.
they could have just like withheld that information for you, and then
Yeah, that would have been
would have
much
been a good
better.
twist. Like would have been a cool.
That
And
twist.
then what
that
happens
would've
in the
been-
end?
You've honestly cracked the code. But
Yeah.
you know what else was awful about that film? Now that I think about it, was the fact that they had to save the ship.
Yeah, I mean
That was awful. Like that's what reunites them is they have
that
to.
that was just like thrown in to make it an action set.
Yeah, that literally was.
Oh
like-
yeah, they're like climbing up the fucking
Yeah, they
swimming
jump.
pool
Like
or
that was
something.
just like, oh, we've given
Yeah.
you this sci-fi budget. We need to have explosions.
Yeah.
Whereas it could have been like a really good like romantic film
Yeah,
where they kind of
100%.
had because at
It
the
is.
end
It is a romance.
at the
movie,
end
that's all it is.
at the end it ends really lovely. I
Lovely,
thought.
yeah. No,
they
no. It's
kinda-
it gets too
What,
much.
they
of a
both
bad-
fucking
gets too much of a
died,
bad
yeah?
rep.
yeah.
Gets a bit
What
of a
happens?
bad-
Well, they basically start their colony on the ship. You know,
They just, like-
they have a family. You know, I mean, like they kind of.
Okay.
It's
It gets
like the
passed
ship
down.
is the new.
Okay,
ship,
but
yeah.
someone has someone
It's never got to that.
someone has to fuck the kid.
But so I they start like planting trees around it and everything. But yeah, I'd imagine that the kids started fucking at some stage.
so that's a pretty unchill concept. I've won.
Go on, let's hear
The butterfly effect.
You know what? I love this film,
Same.
and it's a hill I'll die on.
But
I
it,
fucking-
no,
Really?
I love it. But I don't think
But I
it's a good film.
totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. It's,
Oh no! I love this film as well, but I just love to see what Christopher Nolan would have done with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
Imagine Tenet was like the butterfly effect remade, because you never know what's going on in that movie. I have no
Well,
fucking idea.
you know what my biggest problem with the butterfly effect is? Okay, there's campy
Ashton
stuff
Kutcher.
in it. Yeah, there's campy. Although I thought he was. I thought
The
he was
villain's
okay
really
in
good
it.
in it.
There's campy stuff in it.
There's
as
also really
well.
dark shit in it.
Very dark.
I think
very
it
dark.
really shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a villain.
No,
you know,
yeah,
that kind of.
but also it gets its own rules mixed up. So like,
It
I mean,
does.
there's a basic scene in it where he's like he ends up in prison at one stage, and he tries to get stigmata on his hands to make it look like he's gifted. So he goes back to when he was 9 and puts 2 holes in his hand, right?
Yeah.
But surely that would affect like the whole movie is the
Everything
principle is
that
you change
happens in
one
life, yeah.
tiny thing.
And it
will
changes
change
everything,
everything.
yeah.
Like, and he does that, but he's still in prison, and he's just got the only change is that he's got 2 scars there.
And then he doesn't have to like. He doesn't get sexually assaulted.
Assaulted by a bunch
prisoners,
of fucking
yeah.
prisoners, like yeah.
Which is it was a weird direction to take. I mean, there's so many, like, it's kind of like, you know what did this better?
A lot of sexual
About
assault in this
time.
A
movie.
lot of sexual assault.
Like weirdly,
Yeah,
like
there is.
strange.
Yeah, and
amounts.
in the sequels, there's sexual assault.
Isn't there one where he like watches a rape?
Oh no, sorry. They're
That's
like
the third one.
they're pretending to rape each other. The woman's pretending to be
Oh, and he
raped.
goes in and like.
And he goes in to intervene, even though it's going to change the timeline, and then he finds out that they were role playing,
It's such a
essentially.
stupid movie.
But yeah, but anyway, they took such about
The
time
sequels are really
with
bad.
Donald
They're
Gleeson.
mad horny
Yeah, great
sequels.
movie.
That was like a kind of they did it better without calling it like the butterfly effect, without calling
Yeah.
it in the science behind it. To be honest,
That's the thing. So.
although Rachel McAdams
Eh,
fucked that for me, I can't take her seriously at all.
Really, I like her.
I don't. She's in like on it again to mention her twice in the one fucking podcast. She has me on a mad buzz for it. Like
I like Rachel
Like
McAdams.
she's just in like every. She's so interchangeable throughout all these films, like The Vow, The Notebook.
That's
fucking-
true. That's very
Damn,
true.
she really is fucking in everything.
But I like
The Notebook's a good film, to be honest.
Yeah,
I really
Notebook's a
like-
good
I really-
movie.
Yeah.
Although I don't give a shit about Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams' part, but I love the kinda
concept
like
of it
the
also.
the old person.
Yeah.
She in Pearl Harbor as well. Is she?
I think she is.
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe that's. Oh, maybe it is.
I don't know. It's one of those next door fucking looking American
Yeah,
girls with
yeah.
the. Oh, you look
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
1950s
Yeah.
housewife.
Do you know who she is? She's Regina George in
Yeah.
Mean Girls, and she was like 30 in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like she's like when she's playing an 18-year-old. But yeah, no, the Butterfly Effect is.
They just made these sequels all about sex. by
Yeah,
the way.
they did,
They're the
like-
horniest movies ever.
But,
The
like-
guy who made that was the horniest bastard
So,
ever.
like,
He was
what-
like,
what-
"Yeah,
what's
let's
the
do
actual-
this 30 times."
What's the actual?
Effect.
What's the actual like power he has again?
He
Like,
can
so,
go
like-
back and
He's got-
specific moments in his life. He can go back
Yeah,
and
that
do
I
they, do they,
regress,
they,
Yeah.
do they,
isn't it?
yeah, it's any like, yeah, any regrets.
So he's a
memories.
psychology student, and apparently
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher did like a load of research for this one.
Yeah, sure,
So-
he's qualified in
Yeah, isn't
astrophysics
he?
and
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
he has the IQ level of a genius.
Yeah,
as well.
he's-
He's
yeah,
another
he's
one. of
immense.
them.
And why the fuck did he
Yeah.
replace
He's on
Charlie
Shark.
Sheen?
He's on Shark Tank.
Shark Tank's banging.
I think it's that he has a diary that's to do with like his repressed memories.
And that can put him back into.
And when he reads it in a certain state, it's kind of like where Donald Gleeson goes into the closet
into
about
the
time.
closet, yeah, and he can,
He can travel back in time and kind of intervene in those moments. But there's that really cool part. You see, I feel like this film, unfortunately, tried to do too much. Whereas like there's that scene.
lot of
remember when
timelines.
I think
a
that
lot
like
of timelines.
that
yeah.
little psycho kid, kind of like kills his dog or something. It kills
Yeah, and then he
an
goes
animal.
back and he ends up killing his mate.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kills
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Or he goes back and he gets the brother arrested. It's all about like the love interest brother, and he goes back in time, and then the girlfriend turns out to be kind of like a waitress who's like addicted to drugs and everything.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff
like
that.
he keeps going back and he experiences timelines where he's in love with this girl since his childhood, and you know they moved away from each other, they got separated. It all starts from the first repressed memory they have is putting a stick of dynamite in someone's mailbox, and they ended up
Killing the
Kill a
baby.
kid.
killing a kid, like, and then you go back to and it changes effects. Now the problem with it is like there's certain moments in it where like he goes in to do it himself and he blows off his arms, and that timeline is really good because it's kind of depressing, and like you know he's like in love with this girl and stuff and all, but she just sees him as like
The guy with no
the guy
arms.
with no arms, and but there's a really cheesy part where they're wheeling him around and he's got these
Yeah.
prosthetic arms on, and I was just like, oh my god.
It looks ridiculous.
And he's so
like-
sad. He's like, "Ooh." I was like, what the fuck? And of course, the fat kid in it is actually cool in that time.
yeah, that guy fucks.
Yeah, he's literally fucking her. And then there's a timeline where they're like, he's like a jock and she's like a cheerleader, and they're like
Oh,
happy.
yeah, they're in, like, a
and then there's a
sorority and
timeline,
everything.
and you know what? I love
But like,
that-
doesn't he fuck up his other friend's life?
Exactly. So it's when he's doing well, he's affecting someone else's.
Yeah.
life,
Because
do
the
you know
whole
what I mean?
concept is that the flap of a butterfly's wings
Changes the course of
create
history.
a tsunami on the other side
On
of
the
the
other side of
world.
the world, exactly.
And it's that kind of thing. If you go back in time, if a butterfly flaps,
Yeah, he's like
it's-
chasing perfection. So it is a really great concept.
It really is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I love
It's time
that.
travel all over.
It is time
you know.
travel.
It's trying to get the grips to time travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the problem is like all filmmakers say time travel is a nightmare
Yeah.
to do. Like I mean, I'm sure Chris Nolan is going to absolutely nail it, but
Yeah.
like you know he's toyed around with it in Interstellar and stuff and all. And even at that, like it is kind of hard to wrap your head
It's a
around.
bit like,
little
alright.
like, yeah. Yeah, and you
Where,
have to
like,
make exceptions.
Yeah, it's a loop. It's a loop that
Like
happens, but
Endgame
someone
didn't
has to
know
spin
what
the reel
Exactly.
first. Like,
Exactly.
so that's kind of the issue with Interstellar. It's like, okay, yeah, you
it's a
can
loop.
keep on saying it's a
destined to
loop,
happen, but
who?
someone has
yeah,
to instigate that thing to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it goes like the basic paradox about it is about time travel is, and this is why it's so hard to put in movies. Is it's the grandfather paradox. You travel back in time, you kill your grandfather, right? He never has his son, your dad, and he never has you. But then he never gets killed because you were never born to do it. So that's the eternal paradox.
But that's what they say, isn't it? That the timelines would split then,
yeah. So
and you'd create like an injunction in time. Right?
yeah. So that's how, and they do that with Donnie Darko as well. I think they play
Yeah.
around with the multiverse, where it's like you get splits in how things go when time, like, and like the butterfly effect attempts to do it.
Well, there's multiple timelines.
Yeah,
and
and
I mean, there's multiple timelines in Endgame and different things along those lines.
Yeah, I think it's just, you know what it is. It's a bit cheesy. It's a bit early 2000s.
It's a bit dude where's my car?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, like, no, I love this movie, but I just feel like overall the concept.
Yeah.
It's a great concept, but it's a bad movie. It's a
kind
guilty
of
pleasure.
you know
of
what?
mine,
It is
like.
badly executed. That's the perfect.
Yeah, he's badly
description of it,
executed. Like, I'm not saying I hate it. It was a classic movie when I
No,
was
and
younger.
some of the acting is a bit kooky and like. Funnily enough, you know who plays the young Ashton Kutcher in it?
Timothy Chalamet.
No. Your man. It's either I always get the two of them mixed up, but
Well, do you want me to look it up?
I'm pretty sure it's Logan Lerman, or it's your man who's in 13 Reasons Why. Whatever his name. What's his name again?
I'll find it for you now.
John Patrick Amadori
I
or
think
William
it's-
Lee Scott.
It's either no.
Logan Lerman.
It's Logan Lerman. Yeah, who was in
Oh, he plays him when he's really
He's
young.
really young. When essentially they get molested by her dad.
Yeah, well,
Which
there's
is
ads
so
on
great.
It's
IMDb
weird
right
because he
now.
went on to play your
To
man.
play your
and
man,
Perks of
yeah.
Being a Wallflower. But you know what? Speaking of Donnie Darko, weirdly enough, another film who ruined that director's career, your man
The
Richard
Box.
Kelly, in 2009.
That's a cool concept too.
He hasn't gotten a film since, but yet incredible concept. So the concept, but you see, they got Cameron Diaz, they got James Marsden, and no one was behind it.
But am I right in saying The Box is also a Stephen King story?
It's Twilight.
I'm watching
Oh,
Butterfly
Twilight
Effect
Zone,
tonight.
right,
Lads.
like, yeah.
I'm watching
You know
it
what?
tonight.
You've got me in the mood for it, Jack.
Yeah.
Honestly, just thinking about it now.
So IMDb started putting ads on their app.
Yeah,
I'm
see
very
that?
happy that
they're making
they're
some sort of
making
money.
secure the bag
Yeah.
because I'm all up for it.
But yeah, the box was a Twilight Zone episode. I believe.
That's been
And I
fleshed out
think
into
that
it.
was kind of that's what hampered this film, because I don't think there was enough material
Yeah, to
at
stretch
all
it out.
to stretch it out, and it was just kind of weirdly quirky, like the kind of ominous death character that Richard Langella. What's his name? Frank Langella.
Yeah.
Who had like half his face was missing. The whole concept is cool. So you're basically
Told.
you press a red button. You're given a red button,
You get $1 million.
and you get $1 million, but someone you don't know will die.
Yeah.
And why that concept is incredible is because you don't know what chain of events you're setting off.
You're setting off, exactly, yeah.
But they don't really play onto that. It's kind of more of like a murdery horror.
Yeah,
kind
they
of
went
thriller.
down the horror route more,
Yeah.
which I thought was weird. And you know what I thought as well is like there's a little bit of Pet Sematary about that, where it's like you can bring your kid back, but they're not going
But
to
they're not
be
gonna be the
same.
same.
Like,
Yeah.
it's the trade off, like, you know what I
But
mean?
but it's well, like the whole concept as a whole is cool, because like, I mean, if someone puts a red button in front of you, you press it for free.
Yeah.
You know, it's that big red button concept of like anyone's gonna press a red
Put a
button.
red button in front of someone's face, they're gonna want to hit it.
They're gonna hit it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like.
So if you're adding the option of getting $1 million to kill someone you don't fucking know, I mean, like you're probably gonna do
and
that.
hit a red button, like,
And you get to hit a
You hit the
red
red button, you get that satisfaction.
But yeah, I don't think this film had enough kind of source material to go ahead with it, but I think it could be done so well.
100%, like it's a very cool concept. You know what I mean? Like
Because like it's kind of the butterfly effect.
it is, yeah.
Like
you're-
you hit a
you're
red
setting
button,
off
you
those-
kill someone you don't know. What chain of events are you?
Yeah, you
setting
could
off?
kill like fucking Chancellor Merkel.
Yeah, no, exactly. You could kill the fucking Prime Minister of Germany.
You
Like,
could kill the person standing over the red button for the nukes aimed at America at all times.
Literally,
Or
like, yeah.
the nukes in America aimed at Russia at all
Yeah,
times.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another movie I'm going to briefly talk about, because I don't hate it as much as lots of people do, because I enjoyed it, but I just remember being disappointed at the time. In Time.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
cool concept, directed by a good director actually. What's his name again?
Oh, it's the guy who did the Truman Show.
Yes, and he also no, not Paul Haggis. It's Paul Haggis.
I don't think it's Paul Haggis, is it?
He also did
It's Andrew Niccol.
Andrew Niccol. He also did Gattaca, which is a great movie too. Which is a really
I've heard
good
Gattaca
film.
is an incredible incredible dystopia.
It is a incredible dystopia. And Gattaca plays with a really cool concept. Gattaca is about where you can, which is like actually a conversation that's being had now, where you can pick and choose what genetics your child will have.
Oh yeah, extremely scary.
Or you can have
What's that called?
Eugenics.
It is eugenics. Isn't it?
Eugenics,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
sorry.
such a scary
I-
concept.
I- no, I
it's morally patchy. Like
I was
big
thinking
time.
eugenics. I was thinking eugenics, but I was also thinking, what's it called? And I think it's called in LA. It's like designer genes.
Designer babies, isn't that what they call
Yeah,
them?
designer babies. Yeah.
Where it's like, oh well, we can remove
get them,
this
like,
gene, so
blonde
they
and-
won't. They can be blonde and they can be this and that. And
Blue-eyed, 6'4", loyal to the Fuhrer.
But yeah, so he's a guy who's dealt with cool like even the Truman Show is an unbelievable concept.
Yeah.
And they're these kind
That's
of
done very
they're
well,
kind of
though.
wacky concepts that do well. And In Time is cool, where time is a currency, but if you think about that from the start, it actually makes no sense. And we've talked about YMS stuff before. He makes the perfect
Yeah.
point that, you know, if time is a currency, you know, is and that's constantly ticking down, does that mean the economy is constantly decreasing? Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Decreasing,
know,
yeah.
like it just doesn't really make sense.
Well, I mean, it's refilling.
It's yeah, but it like it is, but it's like
Every
even
baby
the rich
starts off-
people, even though they have like huge amounts, it's constantly depleting.
Well, it's a cool economy, isn't it? Oh no, but the rich people are gaining more time as they go.
Well, yeah, so they're hoarding the time essentially,
Yeah.
but it's still ticking down. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
we still will of it.
um,
So are we all.
But
You hear
also-
that, you capitalist bastards? You hear that, Rupert Murdoch?
But yeah, I thought it was a really cool concept. The fact that it's like, you know, everyone's against the clock, and once you hit 25,
You know what
that's
it
when
turned
your
out
clock starts.
very like. I actually think this film was better than this. Was you know that film Repo Man with Jude Law?
Yeah.
And it was in a future where like you weren't only getting loaned out money, you were getting loaned out organs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to pay
When
for
did
them,
this
or-
come out?
Was that a horror movie?
It was kind of like an action kind of
Yeah.
film, because I think at the start, so he's a repo man. He goes around. He basically, someone owes him a kidney. He repossesses kidneys, and then I think he gets something taken from him.
I think he gets like
I think
abducted,
it's his
does he?
heart, and I think he has like a thing that's keeping him going while he's trying to get his heart back. But it's the way that these films take the direction. It's the same within time. Is what they do is they create a main character that's not like living this concept, that doesn't have to deal with this concept. It's more like they're against the concept, and they have to like overthrow it to
yeah.
survive in the end.
Yeah, I mean, In Time is literally about wealth inequality, and like
It is,
the
yeah.
rich stay rich and
Yeah.
the poor stay poor, and like it is a cool concept. But I just felt like the casting wasn't great. I liked Justin Timberlake, but he just wasn't that. He just didn't have that action hero, and it was an
thought
action movie. Do you know what I mean? It was like he didn't
Yeah.
have that prowess about him.
I don't
It
know.
kind of lifted the wool off my eyes to be for him, because I remember seeing him in Alpha Dogs, and I loved him in Alpha Dog.
And I loved him in The Social
I
Network.
loved
like,
him in The
he's
Social
so
Network.
Good.
Yeah.
He's so
And
good.
after this,
I don't know. I just don't like this movie. I'm sure the concept's great and all, but like
And yeah, and like I mean,
It's very dark.
it gets stuck in its
It's-
own.
it's
It gets
glum.
stuck in its
It's
own
dark
logic
and it's
again.
glum.
and
It's like
yeah,
Looper.
I felt
Looper is a great concept that crime
good.
is impossible in the future, so people send people back to be
to
murdered.
commit crimes.
But then it's the
essentially.
grandfather thing again. It's like
Exactly, it's
and
that-
eventually
it's
you
that
get.
paradox.
I've never
like,
actually seen.
if you're a looper, you get
Looper's
sent.
great. Looper's
I
great.
just hate Ryan Johnson.
Well,
Yeah.
this is actually when he was good. This was actually when Ryan
Well, I
Johnson.
didn't even like
This
Knives
was
Out, to be
this was.
honest.
And I like Knives.
I like Knives Out. I
I
think it's sweet.
enjoyed that.
But like the concept is that like you're expendable hitmen, you get sent back, and like the stupid rules that are broken. Like so, basically, when someone gets sent back, they're immediately shot.
Yeah.
It like happens. Fucking shows you them
And
shooting
then
it exactly
eventually you
because he
close
checks
your
his
loop,
watch
they
or
send
whatever.
you back.
Yeah.
I must watch it.
Yeah, they send you. It's you know
Yeah.
what, it is good.
And then Bruce Willis like notices it's himself because he's whistling. But every time that Bruce Willis is like, it's like a montage of him fucking doing it. He's done like maybe 5 or
Yeah.
6
5 or
times.
6
in front of you.
times, like, yeah.
Then like he's whistling. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's supposed to be Bruce Willis,
Well,
is like
don't ruin
whistling.
anything.
Yeah. Like this is in the first 10 minutes of the movie. Like,
Yeah, like
Oh, is it?
they
Yeah.
essentially he ends up like chasing himself. He has to close his loop. He's meant to have closed it there and that's your last job. You close your loop, but the problem is it gets caught up in its own
It's logic.
The thing
Logic,
about
yeah.
time travel films is, if you're making a time travel film, it doesn't matter what the actual science is behind how the time travel's working, as long as you stick to your own rules.
Stick to your own rules.
Yeah.
The problem is
Make
this
your own
movie,
rules.
This movie does break its own rules.
Yeah, make your own rules. It doesn't matter. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's fiction.
That's why Rick and Morty is done so well, because they just threw time travel out and they went for interdimensional.
Yeah,
dimensional
interdimensional.
travel,
That makes
where
so much.
any universe.
Because they can just go
any-
to a universe like, oh, this universe is stuck in the 1970s.
Yeah, and exactly.
That,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
just,
And they
ultimate
make a
universe.
joke about it as well, where Rick invents time travel, and then he's like, "I'm
Shelves it.
never going to use this."
Yeah, he actually physically shelves it. Like
Yeah.
there's a box in his garage that says time travel stuff, and it's like they shelved that idea. They literally
Yeah.
put it on the shelf. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, any shout outs before we end this?
I think I got most of them out of my system.
Expendables for me.
Oh my god, you're dead right.
How could you like for
Put
the
every
first
great action
Yeah.
star.
like for the whole 3 movies, there were some amazing actors in them, and they're just so shit.
They're so bad.
They're just so shit. Like, do
Well,
you
they're
know,
not, they, to be fair, none
The
of
first
them
one's
are
okay.
actually amazing actors.
No, but you have all
But
these
they're all like-
titans
yeah,
of the
I know,
yeah.
It's like it was your childhood dream.
like, and they even got fucking Arnie on for like the
Chuck
second
Norris
one.
in number 3.
they
yeah.
did. We see in the first one apparently.
Did they ever have Steven
they,
Seagal?
they got them all in them.
He
and then-
turned up and he just, like, I mean, Schwarzenegger's still in fucking shape. Like,
He is,
Stallone's
yeah.
still in shape.
Yeah, but
Steven Seagal's
is
not
the-
like, he's chunky.
Even Bruce Willis isn't in bad nick. To be fair to him, I think he's in like decent nick. But
Wasn't Van Damme in them as well?
yeah, Van Damme, Terry Crews for some reason.
Pretty sure Ronda
I feel like
Rousey was in it.
Yeah, Jet Li is in
You
them.
see, Terry Crews was coming into it when I think it was very much like hinted at he was going to be
be an
one of the
action
next
star.
ones.
Yeah,
like,
he
he
just
just
isn't,
wasn't.
like-
Yeah.
Now, funnily enough, actually, I'm just gonna tell this random story about Steven Seagal. A friend of mine, he studied film in college, and he was working with this lecturer who met Steven Seagal, and he was over in his house. And he said Steven Seagal came down like he was a weirdo and was sitting there like crying, and they're all just like sitting around him like, what is he gonna say now? And they're like, are you okay? Then he's like, yes. And he's like, I just read the most moving script ever, like, and they're like, oh really? And they're like, who wrote it? And he's like, me. The guy's a lunatic. That's
class. Will we wrap it up there then? It's getting
Yeah,
pretty
I
Yeah,
late.
so we're doing Netflix recommendations next week, yeah?
Yeah, we'll have them up throughout the
Yeah,
week.
so next week, guys, we're going to be doing Netflix recommendations, like Tiernan mentioned, on the Instagram, and we're also going to be doing a couple of them next week on the pod. So stuff that's out on Netflix that, you know, we say is fucking sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that would be TV series, movies. That's the only thing on Netflix.
Anything that's on Netflix,
yeah. I'm like, yeah, we'll just start off Netflix and then maybe do the other streaming services as well. And please give us a follow on
It's just
Instagram.
like whatever to watch, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
what's going down? At the
Yeah.
Let you know when to watch it.
Yeah, and please give us a follow on our Instagram. Give us a follow on Twitter. Please give us a like on Apple Podcasts and 5-star review, and follow us on Spotify. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.